it would just shut off 5 minutes before my StreamYard broadcast every single day. And I wouldn't have a problem all day, every day. And then certain days it'd be fine. And then, I showed everyone at one point, they just cut me off right from the source and say there's no 5G service to the phone. And then when I go to set up the other equipment, they say, well, who are you? And can we have your location? And can you read us the numbers on the equipment? I go, no. And they go, well, we have to do that to give you phone service. I go, why? Well, we just have to be able to track and trace the equipment and know that it's the right equipment. I go, so you're admitting to me that you're not going to put phone service on a SIM card for me without telling me what I'm going to put it into because you can't track and trace it. I go, that's the point. I had to tell the people on Verizon, I go, that's the point. You're not getting my equipment information because I know you're going to say it's not your equipment and you won't activate it. So then I just fucking put the SIM card in a second phone I had. I said, okay, lady, you want to play games with me? Activate the card now with phone data service. She goes, give me the device. I go, this phone, right? I give her the thing. She activates it. I take it right out, put it in the equipment. It works, right? She goes, it's not going to, first she told me it's not going to work. I said, don't worry about whether it works or not. Put the damn phone service on the SIM card because I'm using phone data through the thing, right? So they won't let you usually activate on a SIM card without knowing the device that it goes into. So you know why that is, right? So they told me directly. I activated it anyway through the phone, took it out, put it in the device, and it worked better than everything else. And I haven't had any of those issues that I was having when they knew what the device was, where they just cut the fucking service off right from the device with 5 bars. I got bars going through the side of the phone, right? And then the light just cuts off, the 5G light cuts off. Right as I'm about to start a broadcast, every time. Then it comes back on an hour in, right? Complete nonsense.
Yeah, it's just they get a.
I'm just up here real quick. Agent Smith down there in the chat causing discombobulation and projecting and shit. I just want to put a nice little comment out there that if you want to keep projecting, go ahead and keep projecting, particularly if you're going to use somebody else's projection. So when you go around calling people hoarders and calling people those kind of names, that proves your intent. You're not here to bring any truth. You're here to rile people up and be a troll just like everybody else. So if you want a trigger, here's your trigger. Wait a minute, can't you hear that? Let me turn it up for you, fucker.
Whoa. Wizard. Wizard, you got a lot of anger today.
No, it's all in love. It's all in the love of the truth. I want the man to understand that if you want to sit there and keep projecting by using somebody else's connotations, then you're not really saying anything of your own. And let me reference again. In beginning was word, not numbers, dumbass.
Hey, greetings, Wizard and Jack. Paul, listen, let me try and log on from a different machine and do a little bit of packet analysis, find out what the hell's going on here, because this is bugging me. I'll come back on from another login so I can trace what's going on and give some feedback to you.
Yeah, go analyze the packet situation. Let me know what you come up with. Yeah, because I need to know, I can't figure out what it is. I can't figure out why I have no notifications being sent out today to anyone in the last few days, right? I don't know why the first channel, no one was getting notifications. I'd get 150 top live views, maybe 180, never break 200 when I have 22,000 subscribers, right? I don't know why most people never got the notifications and kept messaging me going, we keep getting unsubscribed from that channel and get no notification. I don't know why it never got over 22,000, still won't. As soon as it does, it gets taken back down. I don't know why the second channel doesn't get notifications either.
I wrote YouTube about that and let them know that they're not to do that anymore. That's my proprietary information that I entered in the record. Just because it's their record doesn't mean they have a right to dismiss it. That's a court action. And you don't dismiss me for nothing in any jurisdiction.
Yeah, well, kind of like them using some nonsense and striking me for HarperCollins copyright strike on a video with my face all over it, commenting, or a banner underneath as if that's a copyright strike when it's fair use commentary, and I've altered the original significantly so to be something different, which is what fair use is. I didn't claim that I wrote the Tao. I didn't claim that I was the guy reading it. I didn't claim that it was my person doing it. So I was just commenting on it, like it says right there. But again, no one. This is old. We live in a world for a long time where no one gives a fuck. Very few people give a fuck about right from wrong. Great. It's just gonna be a long game of constant nonsense with a bunch of infidel. Big surprise. I'm used to it.
Yeah, and again, I'll remind you that's because somebody else turns you in. AI doesn't pick up on that. What happens is somebody turns you in for a copyright, and they just automatically strike it without doing an investigation. And again, that's like my video on anonymous tips the other day. These police taking anonymous tips and then saying that they're doing an investigation with a confidential informant. No, that don't work. It don't work.
Yeah, well, it's people who are hating on me either directly from the corporations or indirectly avatar by the same energy. So they want to get on there and say, I'm Harper Collins with a fake email and Paulie's doing copyright strikes. It's not the case. So I just reach out to their email and I tell them, leave me the fuck alone or I'm going to sue you, because it's a long game with me. If you put me in a position where I have nowhere to go and I can't broadcast and you interfere with my living and everything else significantly, I'll have nothing to do but sit there all day. And I'm going to sue whoever the fuck I get my hands on once I get legal process down. That's why I say, like, even when I lose, I win, because there's a part of me that needs to learn legal process to sue these people. So go ahead, fuck the channel, fuck all 2 or 3 of them, and put me here with nothing to do all day except learn how to sue you and get it done. And then I got a list of folks who I'm going to test it and play with, who've already done harm to me. Okay? So, like, you know, it is what it is. I surrender in faith on some level. You know, I do the next right thing. I'll be strategic. I'll make a 3rd channel, 2nd one. I see what they're doing and what's coming all the time, but they can do whatever they want. Strike them all, take them all out overnight, and, you know, say I can't come back. And then that's just the next 6 months for me, sitting there pretty much self-sufficient, you know, living off what I've saved, and then getting real good at suing every one of them and telling them, are we going to do this for the rest of our lives? Because I'm not going anywhere. And I'm not going to let you run my fucking life. And I'm not going to let you take away this thing of ours, right? This thing that I've created or co-created that, you know, has been such a quote unquote dream and a blessing, and grace in my life, and given me more purpose and meaning and fulfillment. So it's not going to happen. Right? I don't give a fuck about the numbers and the fiat as much as the idea of I created this because I always wanted to do broadcasting and I always wanted to be a good man and value myself and be valued. So you're not going to take that from me, right? And if I have to, like the wizard says, I will just go and perfect something else, and I'll really put my time and energy into it. I'll just make my own shit. I'll make my own website, and I'll fucking promote it, and I'll reinvest back in myself and put a billboard up, and I'll just do better than ever. You know, it's that quick. It's that quick for me to just go, you know what? It's all going away anyway. I got enough, and I'm just going to go put like 2,000 on fucking billboards in every major city to a website with me, and it's going to say, have a good day, slave, at work. They're all going to get so fucking triggered and have to know who that is. I'm going to put my face up there, right? And then it'll just be something I get to do, right? I already want to do it anyway. So, like, once they get me in a little bit of that ego, like, we're going to play now or it's all over, I go, okay, well, here's where I have to shine now. I always work best under pressure because that's where the fear starts to creep in. I go, okay, now I'm going to submit to this fear or I'm going to go to the next level and become better than all this shit, right? So, yeah, part of me, that's why I'm a gambler, because part of me goes, yeah, go ahead and do that and test me, and then I'm going to see what the fuck I'm made of once again, and so will everyone else. And then I'll just learn more about me, and so will everyone else. So it's a win-win. Your thoughts, Mr. Benton? I see you up here. Smith Creature's mad at you.
I think we're starting to get along. He told me to fuck off and called me names, so that's probably a step in the right direction. We got to get him off this booze, though. He's killing himself.
That's pickling his mind. His comments is, yeah, right. Just tell them that they're not to do that. That works. Yeah, it does. If you know how to speak to them properly, you know, like PayPal. It was a nice little education session yesterday. And the salesman I was speaking to was so appreciative. He says, I'm going to have to do that myself. You might ask, what do you mean? Well, PayPal's demanding that I connect a bank account. Well, why don't we just connect the bank account that was already there? You know, the old account that was closed. Why don't we just open that sucker back up? He says, well, let me try it. And wouldn't you know it, the funds that they've been holding for the last month, as soon as he opened it up, instantaneously, I watched it on my own PayPal account as it happened. As soon as he opened it, boom, funds transferred. It's called electronic funds transfer for a reason. And it's better than drawing up instruments and establishing their validity in a court and then passing them off as a promissory note. That takes time. The efficiency of the monetary system is for your advantage. Learn how it works and learn how to direct the payment. Anyway, with that, I'm going to go do some fishing today because I do have money for gas. So I'm out. Have a good day. Later.
Have a good time. Jack, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
You as well, brother. I feel blessed.
Awesome.
Hey, Smith, seriously, brother, you are a man who, you're a man who has a message, obviously, and it's important to you that you get it out and share it. But this drinking, man, it's not fucking helpful for you, and it's not healthy. And you are geographically close. You've got my number. I would be, well, I'd welcome an opportunity to help support you should you want to change those methods of dealing with the shit.
I do want to real quick point out that, oh yeah, what's up? Sorry about that. Hey, I didn't mean to step on you. I do want to point out that if you do choose to discontinue I'm talking about the withdrawals. Am I fucked?
No, I think it's better.
No, Mike?
I think you're good now.
More technical.
Yeah, the medical withdrawals can be a medical emergency. Did that get through? Okay, good.
Smith Creature, are you there, sir?
I'm here. I was just going to say, love you, Jack. I should take it from somebody who would know. And I'm not saying that as a shot. I'm saying, like, when I told you the other day, I respect the shit out of you, Jack. You're a wise man, and there's nothing more admirable than someone willing to admit their mistakes like Jack has done. So as I see people put him, you know, skewer him, maybe not lately, it was a lot to deal with. And so I went up to battle for Jack in every place I saw that happening. And I said, I don't know Jack, but I respect the shit out of him. Takes a lot to admit your mistakes. So my issue, I jump back on just because I see Benton here. It's not to go at Benton. I'm saying, Benton, how do you give me a two-faced compliment, say, I appreciate your decodes, I find them interesting, and then create an entire stream dissing on me? Just like Chalk Body Outline, who's here, and he's probably lurking, listening to it. He wants to bring me on his show. He wants to talk shit to me. I come on his show, and it's nothing but, you know, sunshine and rainbows. And it's like, what's the issue? What's your issue with me?
That's the thing, though. Everybody, like, it's simple. It's simple. The majority of these folks, I'm not categorizing Benton per se into that. I don't think he's in love with
live in their illusions.
Did you not talk the fuck over me? You're proving what I'm about to say, as always. A lot of folks hate their fucking life. They have little to no value or process in themselves. They come on here looking for a family or validation. It never goes the way they want it to go. So they get into a tantrum mode. And everybody's got to break everyone down and expose everyone and shit on everyone for what they've done and not done. Is what it would.
And so that's what Benton's doing to me?
Is what perceive. I don't know what you and Benton have going on. I'm watching you have done that. I'm watching Cock Body Outline has done that. A lot of folks do that regularly. And then I have to like check them and remind them, you're a loser, low life. You're going nowhere fast. Nobody in your life respects you. That's clear. You don't respect yourself. That's probably why.
So you're talking about me.
No, I'm saying just it's a general human condition that's going on today, right now with most people. Even me, most of my life, the great unslaved one.
Right? Can I interject real quick?
I'm not familiar.
Sorry,
Go ahead, sir.
See, that's part of the. I've mentioned that Smith is clearly suffering from some psychological defects. See, when Paul was saying all that, it feels to me like he's also.
Your mic is going out again, man. I don't know what you got going on with that. This is the day of technical difficulties.
I couldn't hear anything you said, but
from the word go with everyone, technical difficulties. This is the day of complete confusion. Hosted by I and Jack Talcott.
I couldn't hear anything he said, but just to say again, it's kind of like a two-faced
Thank
compliment.
God Michael Tino is here.
I find what you have to say is
Tino,
interesting.
Give us something, please.
Hey, I got something.
Oh my God. Is this real, man? Is this real?
I came here for my 3 hours. I'm here to help everybody, rock and tell Benton, as somebody who's broadcasting on the internet, I know you got a microphone back there. Stop using the cheap, Dollar Tree one, and let's use that nice one that you got. I've heard your voice plenty of times, Benton, and it's way better than that.
Thank you, Moose, for
Oh, well done, sir. Can I be heard? I don't know.
Another agent of chaos is what this is. This is a willing agent of chaos.
Holy cows. Hey, thank you, Paul.
All right, Moose, please jettison the bit, just let it go. Get back to the now and out of your imagination. And let's just hear from you as the Moose person, Michael Sino, not the alien.
There's all kinds of sound effects going on in the background. You're going to think that
Hey, Moose,
some weird stuff going on here.
do you know that your audio sucks? Is it intentional? Or do you not know? It sucks.
He doesn't even know what's okay, so now they're doing it to him now. I thought he was doing a bit. No, you sound like an alien. So I thought you're doing a bit. I tell you to leave the bit alone. You're not even aware it's a bit, non-bit. He's talking with everyone.
He didn't know it was that bad.
Every single person who's come up has not been able to communicate for one reason or another. And this is where we're at. 15-minute cities. Optics are high. New World Order.
Jack sounds good. Mike.
Hey, Jack.
I really thought that was a bit. I thought for sure that was a Moose bit.
Yeah, you gotta leave and come back, bro. You're all twisted. You're
Mickey Mouse.
You should have got that mic, Jack.
Agenda 2030. It's all over.
Oh my God, this is the craziest ever.
Jackie,
yes.
Quickly show me your breast. It's all over. We're all out of here anyway. Thank you. We may as well get some pleasure before it's all over. All coming down right in front of our eyes. So let's just all do what we got to do now.
Gosh.
Go ahead, Talcott. If you're gonna mount me, I guess now's the time.
Do it all. Get it all out on the table right now, everybody.
I'll show you my breast, Talcott.
Right.
Is Smith wearing the Jolly Roger? What is this? What's that shirt? Can I still not be heard?
Jackie, please don't start using your vibrator. I was only kidding about everything.
It's already there.
All right. So you know what? You just go ahead. We can't see anything anyway. I don't think we'll get banned for that.
No.
Whoa.
What is that?
Whoa. Went on high. She turned it on high. Okay. We got Donnie. Everybody's favorite daddy.
I'll mute up.
Let's get to some of the breaking slave news, just a little bit. So they say daddy is more agitated than he's ever been in this deposition. I haven't seen any of these, as always, so we're going to watch it together. Let's see how much I can get through before I shut it off and move on.
Played before the jury at his ongoing civil battery and defamation trial, it has been released to the public. The lawsuit, you'll remember, was brought by E. Jean Carroll, who has accused Trump of raping her in a department store dressing room in the mid-1990s.
Mhm.
Since Kara Scannell, she's been following the trial. Kara, this tape of the deposition as a whole runs for an hour. What are the newest pieces?
Hey, Donnie's raping people, one after the
Well,
other.
Jim, this is the
Bill
video
Cosby.
deposition that was played before the jury yesterday, who has been sitting through this 7-day battery and defamation trial. And just as a reminder, Agent Carroll sued Trump, alleging that he raped her in Bergdorf-Goodman department store in the mid-1990s and then defamed her when he said she's not his type, he didn't know her, and that she made up the story and it was a hoax. So this is the first time that, we're going to see now what the jury saw yesterday, and it's the first time the public will see how Donald Trump answered these questions. This comes from the deposition he sat for in October of last fall. So take a listen.
Read the next, go ahead, that she's not my type. Yeah, because it's not politically correct to say it, and I know that, but I'll say it anyway. She's accusing me of rape. A woman that I have no idea who she is. It came out of the blue. She's accusing me of rape, of raping her. The worst thing you can do, the worst charge. And it's not true too. You're a political operative also.
I was helping her try on clothes, Mr. M. Davis. One of my African Americans down there is asking a good question. I was in the dressing room helping her try on clothes.
You're a disgrace. But she's
People are
accusing me, and so are
disgusting.
you, of rape, and it never took place. And I will tell you, I made that statement, and I said, well,
These
it's
people are
politically
disgusting.
incorrect. She's not my type, and that's 100% true. She's not my.
So there you see Trump being
He's
asked
like, hey, listen, we've all been around a little bit of raping from time to time, and if I'm gonna rape, it's not gonna be her, right? Yeah, I've raped, but not her. She's not my type. Okay. If I'm raping, I'm going all in. Someone I'm really into.
Yeah, that's to put the poor woman down who who got raped, to saying she's not even good enough to get raped. Really?
Yeah.
On that.
Rape, I wouldn't even fuck her. Don't insult me. What? That's an interesting way to approach this. I didn't, I don't know. I guess that's why they love Daddy. He's a lot like me, I guess, because I might say the same thing. I go, wait, rape that woman? If I'm going to rape, listen, don't insult me, okay? She ain't got it. Your thoughts, expert panel? I can't even get through more than 2 to 3 minutes. It's just ridiculous. Donnie's going to jail now for rape. First it was paying for pussy. Now he's just taking it. He's taking pussy. That's never good. Everyone's favorite daddy. Your thoughts, Jack? I see you leaning.
Well, it's not as humorous, but it's an observation. These claims were from back in the 90s or some shit. I mean, this is a long time ago that this is still being addressed. This is the problem of our court systems. I mean, if there is literal evidence, it shouldn't take fucking years, decades for evidence to be known. And this case is, there's many worse cases, people sitting in jail cells fucking waiting for the process to work. This process is insane. We don't need a judge to look at evidence. We need people, humans, people who care about the truth to look at evidence. If he raped her or not, the truth will be what it is. But shouldn't take years. And it's a distraction. It's just an absolute distraction after all the other criminal acts that have been committed by that man. This is the one that gets all the news and the taking of some papers that someone else said couldn't be taken. It's a bunch of bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more political jostling to get all the slaves to focus on this campaign nonsense and demonize the opponent and, be apologists for Joe Biden and, get the slaves to try to support him. And then at the end of the day, this is like games within games because it doesn't even matter who you focus on and pick. They're going to just decide at the end of the day anyway who's going to go in for the next part of the operation. And by the end, it just seems to get a little bit worse somehow.
Dude.
They'll learn, I think, at some point, Jack. People will get it, I think, maybe, possibly, hopefully. I don't know. I'm not hopeful.
Paul, it is broadcasting excellence at another level. Okay, that's what these maneuvers are being done. This fucking broadcast, using fear and distractions for entertainment, or for entertainment and distractions, and it's fucking crazy, man. This world, I mean.
Sir Death Bread, are you on the run?
Well, I'm on the fly, in the live, in the here and now, on the ground.
Is everything okay, sir?
Yep, just saw a bird fly away.
All right, your thoughts, expert panel, and then we have a fight erupting. I'm gonna mute you because you're blowing and sucking. There's a lot of noise. So, we got a fist fight with Russian diplomats over a Ukraine flag. So we get to watch the chimpanzees act out over flags and symbols.
Hey, before we do, may I just real briefly, I gotta tell you, I love you, Paul. Only you could bring this all together and have this. I love you, brother. What was the news?
Thank you, Jack Talcott. I appreciate you sharing. You got a lot of love to share, and I enjoy receiving that. So, thank you. The Cuck Body Outline said I'm a gay man this morning as well, just because I share love with you. He said because I said to him, he said he had a lot of guns in his closet, and I said, well, why don't you come out of that closet then? There's not enough room in there for you and the guns. And he said, oh, that's great coming from a gay man. So see, Jack, see the rap I get just because I share love with you. Now I'm a gay man. Whatever. Bisexual isn't gay anyway, right, Jack? We've already covered that. All right, let me get to the Russian Ukraine flag fighting incident with the Congress, the chimpanzee folks. Whoa. Diplomat, Jack. This is the UN people you want to go and talk to. Jack's going to go in there with a UN button on and get beaten up. Let's see that again, right? This is how quick it happens. All your civilized, sophisticated diplomats go to clawing at each other like kittens over symbols and flags. This is how sick these people are. You slave. Please. Hey man, all I said was illegal secrets. Zach just gets clawed, beaten.
Hey, I don't know if you saw it, but after the guy hit him, I was imagining he got in a good connection, but I know the thoughts in his head were, son of a bitch, I missed it. I could have got him better. That would have been my thoughts, but
Jack, a very violent man. It's all coming out. Easy, Jack.
But
we don't
actually,
want you up on UN diplomats now.
Hey, I don't know what the context of that is, but that is pretty brazen and kind of shows the ridiculousness of us. We'll resort to violence over the smallest things.
Right, and then you have to wonder if this is what these people do at an event over flags and nonsense. What are they doing when no one's watching?
Exactly.
Fuck you!
Holy shit. If that's how I am on public, imagine how.
Imagine what those women and children are dealing with. Orders for Jack because we saw a couple demons come out of him this week. He opened his mouth like a mummy and a locust swarm flew out. So, Jack, there's some what they call sideshows, which is kind of ironic terminology. for slaves now. They get together at this time of year and they start to burn shit down. So let's hear that. This is, again, I don't pick them, I just report them. These are the top breaking news stories, either nationwide or worldwide for the day. So maybe a little bit of a slow news day, maybe just starting to like get into our mind what I've been saying the past few weeks and months, that there's stages of this. So the youth are now going to take to the streets and burn shit down for fun, and just wait till they mix in the Donnie and Joey optics and all the rest of it. Marfugal, as your boy says, still don't know what that is.
Authorities dealing with several local sideshows. They happened overnight. One incident in Oakland, as you can see, erupted into a car fire. It's happened about 1 a.m. at 10th and Oak Streets. We're told that a parked car somehow caught fire. And one of the participants in that sideshow intentionally.
What the hell, man? Talcott parks at his lawyer's office. He goes in. He's in there for like an hour or two. He comes out. These people lit his car on fire and are running into it. What the hell, man? I'm just trying to end legal secrets. It's like Alexander's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, except it's Talcott. And every news story happens to Talcott, and he can't figure out what's going on. The better he tries to do, the more things happen to him. I want to see that. Why would you take your car and run into a car on fire? Like, that wasn't good enough? Lighting on fire and stripping it? You had to run into
a car fire. It's happened about 1 a.m. at 10th and Oak Streets. We're told that a parked car somehow caught fire, that one of the participants in that sideshow intentionally rammed into that vehicle a number of times as the crowd cheered on. Police officers arrived, fired flashbangs to disperse that crowd. Some of the spectators hurled bottles at OPD. Firefighters eventually came, extinguished the flames, and that vehicle was finally towed away.
Downtown Spokane is a buzz.
Meanwhile, Oakland police responded to a sideshow right down the street just a few hours earlier. This one happened about 10:45 last night, 10th and Fallon Streets, and
you're getting riled up, Talcott. All the brown people. Look at them. They got Mexican flags. African Americans hanging out the windows with guns.
Officers arrived,
getting ready for a little bit
of peaceful
protest.
The photographer who recorded this video says there were hundreds of spectators and cars on the scene.
You guys want to build walls? How about this? How about we light Talcott's car on fire?
Another sideshow in the community.
It actually looks like fun.
San Pablo Avenue and Merchant Street there. Cars in the crowd took over that intersection as drivers did donuts in the middle of the street. This sideshow lasted about half an hour before the cars went to Oakland for the sideshows we've already shown.
Oh, my
These people are disgusting.
How can they call that a sideshow?
Sideshow freaks burning shit down and running into shit for entertainment.
Wow. The donuts were pretty good, though. You got to admit. I mean, you know, it beats the circus that they feed us in the mainstream media.
Right. So, you know, while the economy is just collapsing before our eyes, these folks are out there in a whole bunch of cars they can't afford, burning up gas. And then, you know, 3 months from now, you'll have folks like with gas in a Ziploc bag in their trunk, a whole bunch of bags full of gas, because they'll tell you there's a gas shortage because the sideshow freaks were out doing donuts all summer, burning the damn gas up.
Well, last week
we'll have to go to another war again, tribal person, stack some bodies so we can get cheap gas again. I hear the Sudanese need some democracy, all right, huh? You get what I'm saying? Yeah, they need some democracy. So we'll get that cheap gas back.
Last week, we had the Blue Angels spitting jet fuel all over the beach, you know, at the cost of millions of dollars just to intimidate people with low-flying jets at low speed, you know, just to show you.
Oh, yeah, another video came out of one of the chemtrail people shooting their bizarre, you know, creations out the back of the plane. They were showing the little pipes that they had. They got a video now going around on the Slave Talk.
They fly those all the time here. They do it for mosquito control. They got planes outfitted with all that stuff. So yeah, you can always show it. The fact is, all that crap they say they're spraying up there, it's probably just barium salts, and it's healthy. They're electrolytes. They're what the body craves. So they're actually
No,
good for us.
I showed you the article one day. They went to the next level because they're going to tell you what they're going to do. They don't make it up. They're going to tell you, we're going to shoot rabies chemicals from the plane. That's what they said.
Yeah.
10 to 15 states, we're going to shoot rabies chemicals for the animals and safety. Are you cool with that? Good. Spray it. Right. So, okay, Jack's giving me a face because I know it's hard to believe. I'll pull it up.
I hadn't heard of this one, but
Oh, yeah.
Have you got it, please? Holy shit. What the hell is wrong with the human species? Seriously, they're fucking nuts.
Oh,
Well,
there
Jack,
it is. CBS News. Oh, yeah. 13 states. See, they say that I'm lying,
What
but I
state?
said 10 and it's 13. So, yeah, there's the headline. Let me bring it up for the town.
the amazing thing to me, Paul, is that they've been geoengineering for the last 50 years, and as if it's some kind of new news, and people are saying, "Oh, look at the things in the sky." It's like, to one extent or another, this has been done. Now they get away with doing this, and people
Now,
are so
don't even
stupid that
comment on what's on screen because there's some words there that are scary. So don't even. I'm showing you what they say is happening, but don't talk about it. Talking
Right,
about
right.
it will be unsafe. Just read it and look at it. You saw it for yourself. This is like months ago. I covered this. Okay, so this is what your people are up to. Then they say Paulie's a theorist for decades. And then we go from theorist to, yeah, we're doing it. It's right in your face. And it's for everyone's safety and own good. And here's a little bit more for you. So,
Hey, Paul, you think
Yeah.
some government with this program, was there a government official that thought it would be a good idea to drop those with hypodermic needles? So like dropping hypodermic needles on all the citizens so that they receive the new treatment? Or was that just for the animals?
yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're like making a joke there, but ultimately,
It was a joke. It was
ultimately,
supposed to be a joke.
yeah. I don't know. At the same time, they're now going, hey, all of a sudden, we're going to let everybody like smoke crack, do meth, take mushrooms and acid, and shoot up ketamine at the local nurse's office. Which I go, hey, there might be some unintended benefits to this. If you get these slaves who've never changed their perspective and consciousness to do some of the shit I was doing in the ghetto, there was a time I was snorting ketamine. I've done it all, folks. I've done it all. And now all of a sudden it's a gateway to something, right? So, and then I go, man, maybe some of these people are right. Maybe I am working for the devil and don't know it. Because now the people who are working for the devil are coming out with all the shit I used to do that they used to say they want to put me in jail for and saying, actually, it's like the best thing ever. And I go, well, that's why I don't promote pills and powders and any of these experiences. And I rarely talk about it because I don't want to glorify it. But I know on some level, it's probably good for a slave to change their consciousness and perspective from time to time and then go back to baseline and figure out what it all means. So, yeah, I was getting them bottles of that liquid and pouring it out and using a hair dryer for it to crystallize, right from the veterinarian, the special K ketamine. I was snorting that, injecting it at one point, because I was like Jack said a couple days ago, at that time, I didn't want to live, right? And I just didn't have the balls, in quotes, to kill myself. So I was experimenting on myself because I thought I was broken and done for good anyway. I said, I'm broken. My life's over. I'm waiting to die pretty much. I can't kill myself because I don't have it in me. So I'm going to do it by proxy with heroin and other shit because I knew if I kept going, I would die. I overdosed twice and they had to bring me back and I was cold and felt dead. I felt my body as dead. Like that was one of the first times the whole thing ever really hit home to me on some level is like when you really feel yourself come back and you could feel your body like dead and what it would feel like to be dead. And it's just cold. And then you feel like the blood start going back and your limbs feel cold and dead. Oh, it's the craziest feeling. But yeah.
How old were you? When was it?
Well, it all started. Well, it didn't all start, but
right.
The pills and powders and all the shit started because of the brokenness. 18, 19. And then went till probably 26, 27 in various ways.
And the
so
OD?
What?
Sorry.
I think there was fentanyl in that dope because that never happened to me before. And then around the time they started talking about fentanyl coming around, I overdosed twice in like within a 6-month period after like whatever that was, 19 to at least 8 to 10 years, 18. Yeah. The numbers are sketchy with me because I don't keep a track of time and I just kind of live moment to moment. I've always kind of lived like that. But yeah, it was around 18 to 19 and then probably 26, 27. Went to the rehab and then after that, just smoke reefer. And then from time to time, I take some mushrooms. There was a time there where I was taking some acid. But yeah, other than that, I have no desire or craving to do anything, right? I kind of see it as like the devil, That's why I don't really promote it. But there are certain experiences that I think are beneficial to make you realize that there's something a lot bigger going on here.
Yes. Can I get a mic check?
Go ahead. Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah, I think it's about time for another mushroom trip for yours truly. About time. Unfortunately, it's something I don't come across too often, and I'm not asking. It'll happen when it happens. But I found benefit in psilocybin mushrooms, certainly.
Yeah, there's no way to adequately explain. I don't care what jargon and lingo you give me. There's no way to explain how you change a neurochemistry, you change somebody's reality. So, they'll say, well, you were having a hallucination. And I go, okay. Like, I remember talking to these people because my father brought me to an asylum because I was smoking dust. And I was talking about consciousness and awareness. And I was talking about the possibility of consciousness on other planets and in other dimensions. And he thought that I was, completely gone, right? Just for contemplating this stuff and being passionate about it and interested in it, right? So, yeah, I remember explaining to this person from my perspective, they go, well, have you been, they're pretty good at what they do. And they'll ask you a bunch of questions. And even if you don't answer having to do with the drugs, they say, what are you thinking and feeling? What are you seeing? And then they listen to what the parents tell them. So they go, well, we're pretty sure that for some reason you're using something and it's doing something to you. And I go, that's fine. Does anything I'm saying here strike you as insane? And the guy goes, no. I go, so why am I here? Because you're all having a collective hallucination. You want to talk about me smoking dust, having a hallucination because my mind is expanding and I'm conceiving of things that other folks don't even want to look at or aren't interested in. So you're having a collective hallucination where you're all having the same brain chemistry trips on the same substances and the same events and the same beliefs. And you want to tell me I'm hallucinating for stepping outside of that. So hallucination is about perspective because as you see, as far as I'm concerned, the majority of folks have been living a hallucination since the beginning of time on some level. And especially the past few years, we know what we're talking about. It was a mass hallucination event. Where folks said, there's something everywhere. It's in the room with us. We're afraid and we're going to do stuff to ourselves in order to save ourselves. You sound like a mental patient in an asylum who starts cutting himself and doing bizarre shit because he says there's something in the room and we all know it's there. And I go, is it in the room with you now? Because I don't see it and feel it and I'm not aware of it. And I'm definitely not going to cut myself to get the pain out. Amen. Okay. So you could tell me about how my mind is whatever and out there. And, I've been hallucinating a lot of my life because he's on the drugs. And I go, well, that case was cool. Like, 5-10 years ago, doesn't work anymore. Right. Doesn't work even like for the average slave. You put me in front of them and they go, Paulie's onto something here one way or the other, because these people don't have it. After what they watched played out over the past few years, especially, that's what I love about this game of being me, is that I went from a crazy person, misfit, outcast, outlier, asylum case to this guy's just a regular guy and he's speaking common sense shit. And we resonate more with that than the people running all this. So it's a great time to be part of this, right? Because I watched my father now. My father doesn't even argue with me anymore. He knows I'm right. He just tries to pad and defend his position, his belief system. But we don't have the same perspective anymore. Now, I realize, and he realizes, but he won't language it out how this is how it's supposed to go, right? When you're seeking truth and you're conscious and aware and you're pushing boundaries and you're questioning, right? And you sacrifice yourself over to this whole thing, right? Because on some level, that's what that is. Not the dope and everything else, but like saying, I'm going to change my consciousness and awareness so I could really understand who and what I am and what this all is. My father's afraid to do that. They've been afraid to do that. So I'm not even saying there's not a good reason for a healthy amount of fear with all this shit. But they've never done the things I've done in any area because fear runs their life. So you got to have a little bit of something in you, whether it's a cosmic gambler or just, I guess they'll say it's a lack of a will to live. They'll say Paulie's got suicidal ideations. Right? I'm just not holding on here. I'm here for whatever time that I'm here to be here. I have no control over that. I have to upkeep the vessel as best as I can. And when it's time to go, it's time to go. So I don't even play anymore really with my consciousness because I already did that from a suicidal place, a broken place. And now I have everything that I need or true enough. And I'm going to work from that space. There's no need to gamble, right? And like Benton says, maybe if I get to a time where I feel like, well, these certain things are a benefit and I'll use a little bit of them to kind of refocus, I'll do that. I'm open to that. But even that, man, it's a slippery slope, playing with your brain chemistry one way or the other. So, we should do this shit with kind of a reverence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't recommend any of that to anyone. I personally found benefit from it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now, Smith, maybe he would benefit from it. I don't know. That he would have to decide on his own about that. But you want to talk about hallucinations, that delirium tremens he's going to experience if he ever gets off that booze. I went through it 3 weeks. It was a nightmare. And I know Jack knows what I'm talking about.
Actually, I'm curious what your experience was. I went through a detox, so I was actually pretty heavily medicated.
Okay.
Under guidance. So mine wasn't that bad, but if you went, I've heard some horror stories.
Yeah. Well, I'm medicated with the heavy amounts of THC, the Rick Simpson oil, and a bunch of vape carts. It was 3 weeks, man. It was brutal. Yeah, it was bad news. But I would like to see Smith get away from that. And so here's where I would challenge Smith is, Smith, how come I can go all day, every day and not have to drink alcohol? But wasn't that long ago, I was drinking just as much as Smith, I promise you. So if I can do it, he can do it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, well, that's why for someone like that, who's already on a path to death and destruction, like I was, what's the difference? Like you're on borrowed time. I sat back at one point and go, I can't believe all the shit I put into my body once like I changed my perspective and I wasn't hopeless or faithless anymore. And I go, yeah, I can't even sit there and do that because I was already broken and on my way out. Like I wouldn't even, like as a body on a spiritual path, like the destiny was already there and written. But the fate, the timeline I was on based on my thoughts, emotions, actions, and choices, I was already in the ground or going to prison. So to be here now doing what I'm doing and see the results on some level, I'd have to be thankful and grateful for all of it, right? That's how I know there's not transcendence with my father and others. They're scared of the past. They're not only scared of their present and future, they're scared of what's already went on. Paulie, don't talk about that. It makes me feel a certain way. What, me killing myself because I was so broken? Right, it makes you feel a certain way. I got it. And there's your selfishness again. So, we're all affected by all this, but we all have to be real with ourselves and each other. There's a reason for all this shit. And once you realize the reason and the cause and effect, you don't give your power away by fearing about your past. Your past is what makes you. Like, I love the fact that I was a fucking broken, soulless drug addict who was going through institutions and being kicked out of one school after the next because I wouldn't behave and I wouldn't conform. Right? I've been to fucking 12, whatever it was, 10 different fucking schools over time. And that's why, again, I learned how to not have friends. You know why? Because my family was moving since day one and moving me from school to school since day one. So I had to learn how to fucking pick up and keep it moving. And motherfuckers who were meant to be there come for the ride. And guess how many stayed long term? Right. Few, if any. So that's one of the best things that could make or break you. Oh, I didn't have a childhood. I didn't get to hang around with a bunch of loser lowlives and form lifelong bonds where we never leave the place we were born on and never do better for ourselves. Yeah, I didn't have that. So when it was time, at a certain point, when I got older, we went through a lot of shit together. We formed bonds because we did shit that was wrong and bad. And that's where you form bonds a lot of times, like the military and the police. When your life's on the line, it feels like, when you're going to war in different ways every day, and when you might not come home because you're going to die or go to jail, mostly from your own fucking bullshit. So go ahead, Mr. Talcott.
Hey, I want to bounce in on some of what you said. You found a way for you to find strength and gratitude and pride from the shit you've been through, and that's what I did too. But the what Benton said too, if I can do it, you can do it, right? I think that might be why God has us take these trips into the darkness, so that we can be the example for others. Hey, dude, you can do this, right? I've been through that darkness. I've clawed my way out. Someone gave me a hand. I really think that's why we do this stuff.
Yeah, we're the canvas, man. Like Wes Watson, he's the canvas, and then you get dealt a hand and you got to play that. And if you play it the right way at a certain point, you become an inspiration for other folks who were dealt the same hand. So that's all motivation, life coaching, and all that is showing somebody at a place where we were at one point that thought there's no other way, to say, nah, bro, I've been there and I may have been worse off in certain ways. And I'm telling you, as someone who never would have believed it, that there's more possible here if you let it be. And here's how, right? I'll be a living example on some level of that. So, we're here to bear witness. We're here to give testimony. And we're here to give back the being that we create that's needed at this time, right? So it doesn't begin and end with ripped, rich, and rare. You have to be principled. You have to have true values. You have to apply that in the world. You have to create a world worthy of leaving behind, better than the one you came with. Okay. And that starts with self. Charity starts in the home. Stop being a fucking slave. That's who we need right now. I didn't create Paul Unslaved because it wasn't close to me. It's who I am at my truest level. I know I and others need to be right now a version of a being who is unslaved. What does that look and feel like?
You got to create it to find out. And I know you've done it. I'm talking more to myself. I don't know what that looks like until I do it. That's the way I look at it. But then back to what you were talking about with your dad and I see this in my father also, that, these guys, they have to believe in the system. But when you're describing the various aspects, like for me, I wasn't going to be able to maintain my sanity without really accepting this, realm for what it was. But then back to when you were describing the things you've been through, at a certain point, I had my own version of that. And eventually I realized, well, if this realm could destroy me, it would have already done so. I mean, it can kill me. At this point, that's all it can do is kill me. If it was capable of destroying me, that would have already happened with the things I've been through. So, I know that every day. And that's what I would challenge Smith on is, it's in there somewhere, brother. You just tap into it. It's there to be tapped into. And then so it's all levels. So maybe I'm trying to get up to where Paul's at, and maybe Smith could try to get up to where I'm at. And we'll just keep on climbing. And that's how I look at it. Process.
Yeah, may interject a couple quick things here to keep on those topics you mentioned. One was about the hallucinogenics, and the thing is, the chemicals alone aren't what do it. They only facilitate a process. If you don't guide that experience with someone with some wisdom, it becomes very troublesome. So it's the chemical is just part of a process. It's not the entire process. You can't over chemical to compensate for lack of wisdom or input from someone that understands the experience. So that's where the
thing, right? That's the thing. While I was shooting dope and Molly and ketamine and PCP and whatever the fuck else, because at one point I said, I'm going to shoot all this shit because I'm already shooting dope and it's going to kill me. Well, I want to see what all this shit does when you inject it. Because obviously you realize when you inject chemicals, it has a way different effect. So I want to see what the fuck consciousness is. I want to see what it is. All right, let's gamble. So while I was doing that, I was reading. I was looking at myself. I was observing myself. I was working with my thoughts, emotions, and actions, and what is time and space, right? And so I wasn't just sitting around fucking doing drugs to kill pain. That was just one part of it. The rest of it was exploring conscious and awareness and removing essentially all the boundaries and impediments and beliefs that have been acquired about who and what I am and what life is and what is real, man, as the man talks oftentimes.
Well, I'm glad Tribe. I'm glad he made that clarification, because I myself, I studied specifically mushrooms for a long time, and then I was 35 years old before I took them for the first time, and then I was very specific and had a very clear intention in what I wanted to accomplish. And again, I still would never recommend them to somebody. What I would say is, if they're curious, look into it from first, gather some information and really try to figure out what it's all about. And by the way, I would encourage anybody that's not at least 25 years old, especially a male, shouldn't even be smoking weed. I mean, shouldn't be doing anything, in my opinion.
Ben, look at it this way. I mean, ancestors have been dealing with this a long time. It's best not to go on your own on this stuff. If you can't just tap in a little bit of the wisdom of ages before you enter in those realms, you know, that's really doing yourself a disservice. There's enough people to guide you, and enough stuff to, like Paul said, if you have the proper mindset, that's okay. But rarely does one have that, you know, kind of fortitude and be able to.
Yeah, it's rare. I agree, it is rare. Yeah.
So for most it is recommended they have some type of guided experience with someone they trust that has experience and wisdom in this, because it's there. There's plenty of a body of knowledge of people that are willing and able to assist in this experience. And I think as part of our human experience here is to go through this at one point. It's almost ritualistic in a lot of, cultures that have been around for thousands of years. Only recently are we looking at like some kind of fringe, and associated with drug addictions and such, which is, like Paul said, to numb the pain is a totally different purpose. They may be chemical.
Yeah, all these mechanisms are just boundary dropping dissolution processes, whether it's sexual behavior, whether it's jumping out of a plane, all these different forms of entertainment or exploration or exchange of energy are just boundary dropping experiences. Same thing that will happen on these panels at times. You'll see all the walls and boundaries go up. You'll see the acting out. And then you'll see at some point we get to a space where we dissolve the boundaries and we get down to who and what we are as a one self, one love, one understanding creature, one truth, right? So that's what that all is. We have to go out of base consciousness at times and go past our fears to drop boundaries, to expand our consciousness and horizons of what is and isn't possible.
Those words you said just there is something I've really been trying to think about, how to explain pushing the boundaries of our consciousness, intentionally breaking beyond the limits of our own mind to try and explore, right? How do you explore into that which you don't know when you can't see and you don't even know where it is? That's the game.
Well, the animal, as you always say, you talk ego. The animal has an ego, I guess, a protective mechanism that sees threats and then protects you from them and everyone else. If that is unchecked or unexplored, it will ruin you and everyone else. We see it with these chimpanzee males day after day. They're in a survival war space, constantly looking for threats and fear of loss and abandonment. So in order to go past that idea, you play with the fear. What's the ultimate fear? The fear of death. So when a person looks at death in the face, it checks the ego, and now they're able to truly live, right? In order to learn how to live, one must first learn how to die. So why is it that I can love unconditionally while being conditional with my trust and respect and not play favorites? Because I've looked death in the face over and over again. What allows me to walk in front of these policy enforcement and get a little bit into my ego? Like I did that video and I like it. I don't care if I go to prison for it. Maybe I'll change my tune when I come out. But I like walking into court and him saying, you got to take your stuff out of your pockets and do this, this, and this, or we're going to have blah, blah, blah. And I go, would you like to tell me again what it is you believe about what I need to do? And I just walk through and then the detector goes off and they all get scared. right? And I'm not even threatening them. I'm not even violent. I'm just speaking the truth in love about who and what I am versus who and what you are. Okay, so I live for that, right? And the only way I could do that is if I face death over and over again or face my possible imprisonment. So we can't let fear govern us. If we can't live without fear, I'm not shitting on the whole thing. I don't think it's possible to live without fear, right? But we could love without fear. See, I coined that the other day.
Amen.
So what do we love? Well, you better love the truth. I'll tell you that first and foremost. You better love the truth above all things, or else you ain't going to have those fucking things you say you love too long. All that property and rights and freedom and relationships and all the rest of it, women and children, you ain't going to have that too long if you can't love without fear and stand for something beyond your own body and your own life and death. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, I'm sorry to do this, and I usually don't, but I see my dear friend Margot Davy is here, and that's a lady who could learn how to love without fear. She's quite fear-filled.
Let's bring her up, Jack.
I would.
Hey, I got to get out of here. Good talking to y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Benton.
Right.
Blessings, brother.
Yeah, can I say something, Jack? I think part of the problem is that your logo, Live Without Fear, is incomplete. It's more or less a metonymic, because what you're really saying is live without irrational fear. It just doesn't ring as well, so I kind of get it. But I think that's really the gist of what I get is irrational fears are what hold us back, not the rational fears that we should have, like don't jump off a cliff.
But that's not, you've misunderstood, okay? Because it's not just, my message is not the way you said, live without irrational fears. It's live without the effects of fear. Fear can exist.
Love without fear sounds good. That actually has a better ring to it, though. Yeah,
right. That's the one Paul came up with. Right. So go run with it. Go invest in it. Go fucking build it. It's yours, man. I don't have it.
No, it's Paul's. He's already got it claimed. That's how it works.
I'll give
Jack.
it to you, Talcott, as a gift. When's your birthday? I'll give it to you for your birthday.
It's not till the end of July. That's a long
Creator
time
is
away.
the owner of the work. So unless he gives you express licensing or consent to use his works, it's his just by him creating it. It says here,
Margot
I'm
loves
honest.
me, Jack. For some reason, she loves me. She says,
"Do you want to read it, Jack?"
Well,
do you want me to read
it?
With her?
Well,
I think that woman, she's a bit older than I.
She's got a hard on for you.
Yeah. Oh, whoa, Talcott. She
It's
doesn't
quite
hopefully
apparent.
get hard-ons. She was saying she might be a little bit moist. She might be in the flow space with me.
Well, she found an enemy. She found what she perceives to be an enemy of mine. So holy shit, she is at your service.
Enemy?
I'm quite confident.
Margot, will you please come up and service me? We find strange bedfellows in the time of war, right? An enemy of my enemy is my friend. So
in fairness regarding the bedfellows, I assume she has a relationship, so I don't think it's that way. But she's here to serve your whatever. That woman, dude. If we live in a dream, that lady, holy shit.
So far, so good with connectivity, huh, Paul?
Right.
Every time someone came in here before, I noticed there was a incoming connection. I ended up blocking from an unknown server. So every time someone came in, someone's like following or something follows it. I don't know if it's a bot from StreamYard or if it's nefarious. I'm not sure, but I was just noticing that activity. But it was from a private. I couldn't get the IP on that one. It was through the StreamYard service, I guess. But it was giving sending a signal to my browser, which got blocked by my firewall. So I just noticed that. But other than that, it seems like there's been no more nefarious actions here, huh?
Yeah.
It's amazing when you're watching how they behave.
I want to hear from Margot. I want to bring Margot up, and I also want suggestions, because now that, that's why they did it. PayPal was like, one of the main things for contributions here. So I need other suggestions of like reputable things that we can use to do that, because they just killed the guy who invented Cash App. That's the other main one I use, and I don't have any problems with that.
Yeah.
Venmo,
Paul.
I've had issues in the past because it's linked to, well, go ahead, sir. Again, I'm pooling the audience, right, for the folks who know about these things. What are the best options, especially folks from Canada? Because there's a lot of folks from Canada who usually support and contribute, and they can't do that now.
Yeah,
and of course,
there's some solutions. I don't know if we want to do it in the public. You know how to reach me in the private too, but yeah, I have some pretty clear solutions in how to get through that. It's a lot simpler than most think because, first of all, since they are a private company, right, you have to operate through another vehicle, so to speak, right, and have a representative dealing with them, not you, because you can't deal with them in that capacity, but your representative can, especially if they have a fiduciary duty, right? So there's ways of conveying those funds without that kind of intermeddling experience that you're seeing now, because it's being considered a corporation. They're just considering it that, and that's like they're saying we're just protecting ourselves unless you prove otherwise. So really, if you could just construct it so that the conveyance isn't done in that corporate manner, then there will be no issue at all. But I could give you details later about that. I don't want to bore the audience.
So who's the repairman? Because now we all have new names and nobody. Oh, kick out the gym. Yeah, I don't see that on Venmo. So it's just, again, I'm not gonna like have a pity party and feel sorry for myself. It's just like it's just so typical. It's like I'm doing my thing. It's all kind of working out. It's like Paulie boys like finally arrived a little bit, and they're like, we can't have that. We just it just wouldn't feel right.
So,
Margo's here. Whoa. He goes, oh. And he just fucking cuts out. Whatever. I'm gonna
Hello,
have
everyone.
How are you, Margot Davy? Maybe I'll get Pepito to create a PayPal account and I could use it under his name. Go ahead, Margot. Your thoughts on Mr. Talcott, and I have to urinate.
Oh, I've shared my thoughts on Mr. Talcott. I don't have any new thoughts because there's nothing
Because
more
you don't
to
think.
think about.
Offer some new thoughts on Paul.
Oh no.
Well, Pat, Jack, I would ask you not to interrupt me first. I think that's rude. My feelings towards Jack are still the same. I don't think he financially supports his son. I know he has no education. He barely graduated high school.
So what does that mean to you?
The things that have hurt people that they've done in the past.
No, the relevance. You focused on my lack of documented education. So
Okay.
what does that mean to you? What is your point?
Well, I do know that you are not always honest with organizations about how much you know about religions, how much you know about the human body, how much you know about mindfulness. You what
Who
you
told you
know
to
is what
believe?
you've learned.
Who told you what I've said to organizations? You've never been present in any of the meetings nor conversations that I've had with others. So why are you spreading things that you don't know?
What did I spread, Jack?
Well, you just presented a false narrative of what you claim I've been presenting to organizations. Those were your words. You said that I present to organizations a misrepresentation of what I know regarding, you started listing things, but my question is, you have no authenticity, you have no firsthand knowledge, and yet you don't seem to give a shit about what you say about me. I'd like to know why. Please. Well, maybe it's more technical difficulties, or she's having trouble seeing past her ego to find the words that might be appropriate.
Margot,
But this
is that
lady,
true?
Margot,
Hello? We can't hear you, Margot. I don't know if you're having technical difficulties or, as Jack says, can't get past your ego to find the words to communicate. I find that hard to believe. She seems
Well,
very communicative.
No, wait a second. I was reading a document that was sent to me that Jack wrote about being.
You cut out. You're cutting out.
This is a woman who has filed many, allegedly
Speaker, and he's
filed many
definitely not a
reports
counselor.
against me.
You know, Paul,
Your connection dropped, Margot. Sorry to speak over, but your connection dropped, so we missed some of what you were saying.
Wizard, you're out there like torturing animals. That's good to see. Wizard, thankful and grateful that he's over his cancer and he's decided to celebrate by torturing the sea creatures.
Am I back on the show now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what I was reading was a document that Jack created about being a world-renowned motivational speaker and an extensive counselor. And he's not.
That's true.
And so my adornment towards Paul is about his complete honesty about everything he discusses. I've never heard the man off topic or claim to be anything that he's not. So
almost godly.
No, I'm being completely honest, and Paul knows it. And
I know.
people that know Paul know, and that's why Paul continues to pick up followers, Jack, because he's the real deal. And you are full of bullshit, and you have never owned your past.
Well, you didn't address actually anything that I said. I'm wondering if you heard my words or if you just chose to purposely ignore them again so that you could keep building your narrative.
Okay, what am I addressing that you're now going to say? Please make it like one thought at a time.
Why do you say things? Number one, you have no relationship with me. Number two,
okay, well, no, one thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Fair enough. What is our relationship, Margot?
Well, the first part of the relationship was you seeking to know where I lived.
Oh, you were stalking. She's being very polite about it.
Hold on,
And
Margot.
then when you did that, several mutual.
You are so delusional.
Oh no.
Fucking amazing.
You're cutting out, Margot. I suspect Margot would give me her address. Jack Talcott. You seems very
actually
afraid.
The crazy thing is when what she's referring to is I posted a post on Facebook with her photo saying, please, would someone help me with this woman? Someone please help me communicate with her because she's out of her fucking mind.
You notice you have this pattern regularly, right? Where I communicate with everyone and they love me. Even like when, even when they do stuff they know they shouldn't do and accept less for themselves, I still love them and they still respect me because I continue to offer my love and care. And also a healthy critique as I see it, right? Because I'm daddy. So I play that role. So you consistently have this dynamic with folks. And this is what I want to get you out of.
Thank you. For 5 years, I have been trying to resolve disagreements. Okay. I don't know why people don't care to share love and respect with me. Margot is an example. I've been trying to communicate with her since 2018. She has been involved with destroying my reputation here in town. She has been involved.
You say that about me and everyone at some point. You go, this person's destroying my reputation, but you have a reputation with each individual as someone who can't communicate. on some
Well-
level. Not completely, but on some level.
Yeah, there's many things involved. Hey, sister.
Hey, I just wanted to add real quick that I was just listening to that, and I don't think it's appropriate for this time right now. Like bringing back those past things. I feel like Jack has hit a barrier that he's beginning to cross, and I don't feel like, not that he's not taking accountability for things of the past, but that I think this is a very tender moment, that as he's crossing this, that this doesn't need to be drudged up right now. I was just feeling that as I was hearing his words, because I've heard Margot speak and in chat before, and I don't know if it's a shift within me or it just doesn't feel right to me at this moment. And I don't know why. I'm just being honest. I'm completely honest.
I gotta stop you for a second, Jackie, because Cuckbody Outline just confirmed what I don't think he heard me say earlier, which is he's been using this Davy Crocco guy's name in his death for the last week or week and a half. And now he's bragging about the viewers he got last night. So he's on here, right? Again, another person who is a slave on all levels, tries to nitpick with me, constantly following, watching, waiting, and hating in between his domestic duties with his child. And now bragging about viewers, right, over Davy Crocco's death and image and name he keeps using to drum up viewers, because I've watched that his videos don't get as many views typically ever as they do over the last week, and he just can't stop every single night, 7 days, a week and a half, somewhere in between there. Because I just saw it today. I go up on my thing and everyone I'm subscribed to tells me, it says, oh, 7 days ago he's there with Crocco and the face and the angel wings and, you know, celebration for Crocco, and it's been ongoing every night and just a different theme with his face. And last night Crocco was the Santa de la Muerte, right? He had him as the saint of death. The Mexican skull creature was Crocco also. Very bizarre, very telling. I got folks who are like, die and go to prison every other day in my life. You really don't hear about it because it's just part of life and we move forward. And the same thing will happen to me. If I fucking die or go to prison, motherfuckers will move on with their life. A lot of them like I was never here. So we could play the whole like fake veneration, genuflection game when it's really just all about you, your persona, your channel, your views, like it has been since day one. I mean, you'll sit there and narrate serial killers stories in a TikTok fake voice to try to get some energy drummed up. So not much has changed with you folks in your life. And that's why you're here watching, waiting, and hating on me. And that's why PayPal's got to hate on me, because, you know, me just coming on here every day for so often created a bond with folks, and they resonate with what I say because they know it's truth in their life. And I was getting to something, right? I was getting to something, a little bit from each person, but getting to something overall, and they don't like that. You fucking slaves don't like that, because you come on and do broadcasts and set up whole corporations like Vice and then go bankrupt talking bullshit, right? So that's the difference. What's the difference between me and you? They made a song like that at one point. I should remix it. What's the difference between me and you? And I'll go down the list. Your thoughts, Jack Talcott, Jackie? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the Cuckbody Outlines is constantly here sucking my dick and
We're glad
talking
he has
shit.
twice. Aren't we glad? I'm happy. I'm happy he has twice the numbers.
Great. That and a dollar gets you on a city bus.
Yeah.
That and 30% of your slave wage will keep the fucking government off your ass.
Holy crap.
Your thoughts?
That's all I wanted to come up and say. It was just, I was getting a little bit of like this righteous indignation in me about something. It was like, no, I don't know. Like when I see someone making progress, I hate to see someone just come in and bash for no real time. Sorry. I mean, it's because I play both sides of the Talcott. You know, one day's one day, one other. But I just wanted to speak my truth on that.
Hey, Jackie, I appreciate that. In fairness, though, I am the one who, I saw her in the chat. I'm the one who brought it up, and Paul was kind enough to accommodate. But I agree with you. Frankly, well, I've said it before. Margot is suffering from a clear delusional disorder. She believes in fantasies that are not true. She's documented her claims in her false reports against me. But until someone reviews the facts, her accusations continue to be the record for my reputation. So eventually the truth will be known, Margot, and you have created ample evidence that you are a woman who is untrustworthy and not stable. But God bless you. You've helped me learn more about me. So
Right. So like let's just be clear for the cuck body, because now they're all a buzz down there. This is clear, okay? It's not ego. When given the idea of me just showing up and rambling and ranting and looping, I'm still going to be more of an option of folks who come and watch me. That's why I think you streamed me one day and then you stopped since then. Maybe you never did it. There's very telling how a lot of folks won't stream my shit onto their channel, won't restream it, because they know if they do that, their people are gone, at least part of the time, right? So, you know, and then they're down there, oh, yeah, we came over from Cuck Body Outline. We don't go back no more. Right. I've heard that over and over again. And it's just the law of averages. Right. If I go to Castro's channel, if I go to fucking David Rodriguez, the boxer's channel, if I go to High Impact Flicks, I'm only going to pick up X amount because this shit is, you know, not for everybody. Right. The kingdom of heaven is few. And this energy that I bring is not for everybody all the time. But I'm going to pick up X amount percentages from each one of you people. And that's why you don't like having me on too often. And you don't like restreaming my shit on your channel, because you're lukewarm, fence riding, boring and mundane, and not entertaining and not interesting. And you're not well-spoken, articulate, eloquent either. And you're not really spiritually faithful. So there's really very little reason why a lot of folks would continue to watch a lot of these folks on here. And I'm not going to like put DeCastro necessarily in that category, because he actually does shit from time to time. And he's got a little bit of a personality, I guess. If you're into it, you're into it. You know, it's like anything else. Some people like this wine, some people like that one. Your thoughts, expert panel in general. Now we never even got to all this breaking slave news.
I'm gonna head down. Josh is gonna be taking me out to. So.
All right.
We're on the town, so I'll see you later.
All right, you better tell him. Well, he knows. He knows what to do.
He's in chat. You tell him. You tell him.
You know what to do, Joshua. Okay? You find Jackie some other hot nurse, and you get them to fucking. What is all that noise? God, people are disgusting. That's why I can't. This is why my numbers are down. Open panel. Okay. When I came on the Android attached to my steering wheel from the beginning, I used to do like 200, 250. You know, ever since something happened. I don't know what happened. There's been a huge change.
They got done. They got done doxing you, Paul. So like everything's clear now, so we can bring everyone up. You'll get the full panel going. They did their duties.
What is that? Okay. Margot, are you here now? Can you hear me, ma'am? You would give me your address, right, Margot? Since I'm not a creepy stalker like Talcott and I can communicate, you pretty much love me in all ways. She's playing hard to get. All right. Go ahead.
You know what? Before you continue on, if I may, I presented a partial truth of Margot. She is delusional. She's very hateful, not a woman I trust. But I've also seen the other side of her. She does have care and intelligence and humor within her. I've seen it, just not in several years.
Well, that's very diplomatic of you to say.
I try. Thank you.
Okay, let's go over the list again. She is delusional, okay? She is untrustworthy. She is a low value, but she's humorous, or she was years ago. I haven't seen that in a while. It's like the most passive-aggressive, non-complimentary mea culpa, right? Go ahead, Margot Davey. Can you hear me, ma'am? I don't know what's going on with you, Margot. What's going on with that dang connection of yours? All right. Well, I don't know.
You had a story or something.
Yeah, let's
Wherever you
let's
wanna
get
go.
back to breaking slave news. There's anti-monarchy arrests during the UK
Oh,
coronation.
that's
Apparently,
right.
King Slave got his crown today. King pedophile slave, genetic miscreant.
Are we supposed to be on our knees for the day or something like
Yeah.
that? Is there some rules we're supposed to be?
Well, my father votes for Donnie, and Donnie says he's got a special relationship, and Donnie goes to the UK and bows before the Queen. See, I thought that
And
we
the
not
Queen?
only don't bow before the Queen, we like spit on the ground next to them. That's how like Americana. It's not ego. It's like we know what you stand for, and you're overthrowing God's law with your fucking king and queen games, right? So like we like not only don't go there and fucking travel to see you and then bow before you. If you come before our presence, we spit on the ground like that, like they used to do back in the day, right? Get the fuck out of my face, because you are, part of everything that is twisted and deceitful here. Now, with that said, Shaitan has a place. So I don't get into that ego space anymore, right? I don't let myself go there because I go, oh, I know why the king slave has to have a crown, because the majority of slaves outside the walls can't manage their own affairs. See, it's always the same theme over and over again. They don't give a fuck about what's true and what's right. They won't do it even if they know. They won't listen to someone who does know because their ego's in the way. So what do they need? A daddy to keep them the fuck in line and give them purification through suffering. Just like I do on the broadcast sometimes. They say, Paulie's evil. He's mirroring what the Shaitan does in every way. Problem, reaction, solution. Right. You're the problem. You get a reaction or response, and here's the solution. Let's be better. Just like the courts are going to do to everyone. You want to call yourself a man? You want to say you got God-given rights? Show me, motherfucker. Oh, you can't? Get the fuck in your slave cage and go think about it. All you got is time and opportunity. What's 30 days in a slave cage to find yourself and recreate yourself and change yourself and maybe the world and actually live on what the fuck you want to come in here and tell me about who and what you are? So they're going to treat you just like a fucking prison gang will. Oh, you want to come in here and say you're thorough and you're legit and authentic and you're a rider? Well, go ahead and show us. And when you can't, we're going to beat shit out of you and we're going to have a conversation about what being a man is going to look like while you do your time. Same way it does for everybody else. So, you got to kind of find that gray area of what you can put up with for yourself, for what's true and what's right to you, that you can demonstrate on some level and prove to be true on some level. And that should be pretty simple. What's real, what's true is that which does not change, cannot really be altered. Okay. It can only be comprehended, understood, and acted upon. Everything else is bullshit. Your thoughts?
Hey, on this coronation, growing up, I'd remember, learning history. America was so tough it broke away from the crown. And then growing up, there's still a queen, and now there's still a king. And what the fuck? I mean, here's where the point is. Growing up, learning about that, I thought it was kind of inconsequential, that it really didn't make a difference. But if you look into the history and see the tentacles of the corruption, from the colonialism and the manipulation, this king and queen bullshit, this authority nonsense, it's got to end.
Right. And then that's where I just draw my line in the sand, like every other quote unquote individual, dare I use that term, under their code system. But for colloquial purposes, you know what an individual and I know is. So again, I draw the line in the sand for me. I don't need to fight for everyone else's rights and save the world like Zach Hubbard and the rest. It's done one at a time, right? Journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The journey to freedom and enslavement begins with a single mind, heart, and action space. So I'm only in control of me. So that's where it begins and ends.
Paul,
if everyone thought live like that, we're done. It's done. Over. Like tomorrow.
I have to address this because Margot, God save the king. Are you and you're telling me that I don't know history. You're telling me that the king and queen is not bullshit. Are you serious? Margot, you claimed to trust and to understand Paul, but You're confused, lady.
But Jack, in a way, believe it or not, just explore your thoughts for a second here. Do you really not believe in the king, the royalty and stuff? Because let's face it, if you follow anything outside of natural law and common law, you're really following the king's rule. You know, that becomes bills of adjoinder, not true laws.
I stand
So
for
if you can't
natural law.
right, but if you can't articulate that properly, like they've been able to articulate their deceit so well, then you're in a big problem because they're going to outwit you, they're going to outtalk you, and if obviously
but that's
brainwash
irrelevant
everyone,
because that's not true. I mean, you
well,
started
they're doing better than
building
you.
a foundation. Tribe, you started off on a false narrative. So everything you're building on, it's like, it's bullshit.
But everything you talk about, Jack, is only in your head. It's never been validated in the real world, except in your imagination. Let's face it, everything you propose is total fantasy and proven otherwise, and I yield.
Okay. So I'm telling you that your statement, your claim is untrue. Do you care, or you want to leave that as you said? It's irrelevant.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Jack. Why don't you respond to it now instead of drift on to another topic so you don't have to answer it like you never do answer a question ever.
Stay confused. I don't care.
Jack, you encourage confusion with your nonsense. You have circular reasoning. You refer to yourself and your imagination constantly. You like to hear yourself talk. You do zero action. Matter of fact, you're so stagnant. I've seen reptiles that are more have a little bit more vitality than you. You're always in the same place, talking the same talk, making the same miserable stories about your past that you got to hear it over and 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 over again. Jack, wake up. Please bring something new to the table, not yield.
You are so boring. Please.
Yeah, Tribe, you're boring everyone.
Holy shit. Anyway, hey, praise, Tribe, I don't know how you're, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to engage there. Hey, Paul, actually, that's what I wanted to comment on. Wizard looks like he's having some luck. Looks a little cloudy, but it looks like he's having a beautiful day, man.
Again, I'm not, I know they're going to say I'm doing the self-righteous vegan trip. I'm not into torture sea creatures.
I know, me either.
I find it hard to believe that nobody else can figure out how to eat or get along in their life and day without figuring out how to put some creature on a hook. See, I put slaves on hook here. That's why I'm sustained. I have nutrition. I feed metaphysically off the slaves like their masters do, but that's voluntary, just like how they do, right? I don't put a hook in the water and trick a bunch of sea creatures who can barely think. I trick slaves who can barely think because I'm a fisher of men, right? Like the being said, I'm a fisher of men. So I got to get a hook in everybody's life and lifestyle with my words and my presentment. There's no law actually for their own good. But putting a hook in the water and baiting these creatures to come up and swallow it so you can take them away from their life and lifestyle is exactly what they're doing to everyone. So have at it, okay? I don't care that I respect the wizard on some levels with some things. I'm going to speak it as I see it and feel it, and it doesn't fucking change with anybody.
I used to fish, and I don't think I ever will fish again, but there is something peaceful and serene and even, traditional about fishing and harvesting from the land. But, similar,
Yeah,
the
masters are peopling. Instead of fishing, they're peopling.
That is exactly right.
They're throwing hooks out there like they do every year, and they're catching a bunch of slaves, throwing them in the boat, right? The citizenship, and then it's off to the gutting ground.
Dude, promoting breeding with the spread of pornography, trying to get people's libidos up, and then dumbing them down with the diet and the chemicals in the food and the water and the air. And
how'd you get from fish to pornography, Jack? That was a stretch right there. What are you thinking about, man?
His libido's up, so is mine, and I got no one here to fuck me lately. Jennifer's gone, at least for the next couple weeks. So
I think the big
Angelina Jolie. Go ahead, sir.
The big problem, Jack, is that you take everything at such a superficial level, and whenever you're required to go deeper into thought or to extrapolate or expound on any topic, you either get angry or run, or you just change topic and go on to some other meaningless nonsense that you have stored in your brain to
like
bring
you're
up
doing at this
ways.
exact moment, like exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, like you still haven't answered my questions. Everyone in the chat's asking you to answer my comments, and you still won't.
Talking about yourself, please.
No, I'm asking you to answer my comments, but you won't, and I can see that because it's the same thing. You're very superficial.
I'm happy to
You're very superficial. You have no depth, and that's why no one can connect with you, because you talk at people, not with them. You don't dialogue, you monologue, and you go on ad nauseum just to hear yourself talk, and people are really tired of it, and you're not willing to help yourself or others. Margot's just substantiated that. I can't find one person to substantiate your opinion about anything. So obviously you're either insane or lost in your fancy, or you're just here as an agent of chaos to deceive and dissuade us from our mission. And I yield again.
That's heavy charges, tribal fellow.
Well, if he believes that, let's, he presented a pretty serious claim against me. Does anyone give a shit besides me? I mean, there was no facts presented. Just more of his vitriol and
right. You've never presented facts. So does anyone agree with you? No.
Actually, you didn't present the facts, and you're in your damn imagination again.
Well, all I know is I was speaking. Tribe interrupted me, ignoring the words I was saying to project his behavior onto me, and it's like. If you listen to my words, Tribe, instead of seeking disagreement, we'd have different conversations by now.
Maybe he's just of low intelligence, Jack, like so many people we've seen here before.
I don't believe that. I believe there's ample intelligence, but the intelligent egos, they deceive themselves very convincingly. Margot's a pretty smart lady.
Yeah, where's Margot at? Margot, are you here yet? What's happening?
She's busy calling me a liar in the chat rather than address anything.
Wow. I mean, that's one way to get this message out, but can we just speak to you?
Well, I'd welcome it, but this is what I've been dealing with, dude. People create these conflicts between me, and then even when I'm trying, they got zero interest in resolving.
Yeah. Jack, it's you. The problem's you, clearly, because nobody connects with you. Nobody agrees with you. You can't find one person to agree with you except for, Paul does, but just because he's your daddy.
You're presenting yourself right now.
No. If I'm wrong, I ask someone to come up and prove me wrong. And until then, my obligations stand. And there I'll yield again. Now prove me wrong.
Why don't you consider facts?
No, how about facts? Have someone come up, get someone to vouch for you to testify that they agree with anything you're saying here. Really, find one person besides. Well, Paul's there is kind of your advocate, so he doesn't count, just like your daddy.
Hold on, there's a second Margot. Is this a deep state deep fake like Hillary Clinton?
I must yield then.
Looks like we have Moose here, and unless you want to attack his credibility, he is someone who has.
Can you guys hear me?
Some of the things.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, go ahead.
All right, sorry about the audio issues earlier. That actually wasn't a bit. I had no clue that the audio was fucked up until you guys said. But Miss Margot Davey, I have a word to say to you, ma'am. I've seen Jack for almost a year now, and I've seen growth in Jack. I've seen a lot of forgiveness in Jack. I've seen a lot of gratitude come from this man. I've seen anger come from him at times, but put yourself in his shoes right now. How would you feel if there was
you
sitting on the panel and just waiting to bash you, just criticize every piece of your life? I mean, how would you feel, Margot?
Good stuff.
And just like that, I make her run because I ask the hard-hitting questions.
Thank you for
Oh,
doing
that's what
that.
Moose does. He really gets to the meat and potatoes of the issue. It's like a rabid pit bull.
Greetings, slaves.
Hey,
Greetings,
Timmy.
Timothy. How are you?
Well, sir. Well.
How you doing, Tim?
Greetings, Jack. Greetings, John. Greetings, Tribe, and the Moose character.
Hey there, Timmy. I
Hi,
came here for
Moose.
my free hugs today. I'm here for the
Hi.
Hug-a-Buddy Fuck-a-Buddy Foundation. I was told I could be the producer of the Hug-a-Buddy Foundation.
That's right.
Well,
Can
it's
I get
Hug
some
a Beta
cupcakes?
Day today. Specifically, we're only hugging betas.
Well, that makes
I'm
sense why
here.
me and Timmy are here, because we need some
Right.
love.
Right.
Speak for yourself, Moose. Did you sneeze today, buddy?
I speak
You had
for
a tissue,
everyone
brother.
because I'm just that
Okay.
retard that'll speak for everyone, and then later on I think
Very
about it.
nice.
I'm like, oh man, I'm such an asshole.
Very nice. Thank you. Choo. Choo.
Anyways, I really did just come up here to interrupt Margot for a second, ask her a question, and see if she was going to be honest about her question, and she ran. So now I'm kind of fucking bored. I'm like, what do I do now? Steer the direction of the ship. Who's captain today?
Captain Jack, the citizen slave ship.
Yeah, when Jack's up here, I think we all kind of defer to him, as is appropriate.
I love you guys, but that's hilarious. I'm just hanging out and enjoying the day with my new friends.
Moose person, do you want to go over some breaking news?
Do we start the production of Brokeback Mountain 2 yet with Lou Bass and Illumitami?
That's a private viewing only production. You weren't supposed to reveal that here. It's not for public consumption.
What
the
about Wes?
coronation happened today.
That's on the
Oh, yeah.
Patreon. Since I'm off PayPal now, you got to like pledge on Patreon and use that. And I can't stand those people either because they're a bunch of snakes too. There's little that I gather. I just get an energy from these people. I don't even look into it. And then I just go, something about these people and the way they operate, it's just a little bit sketchy and snaky. That's why it all makes sense. Cash App works perfectly. None of these problems, none of these issues. And that's why the guy who made it, he just died the other day. They killed him. Right. They're like, you want to make applications to go around slavery? You die.
Are you sure that wasn't just like an accident or something? Like he drove off a cliff or just
He jumped
he
off.
had his tie on too tight, fell on the doorknob. Margot's down there again. She says Jack is kicking her out. I don't know when you gave Jack the keys to your house.
No, he can't kick anyone, Margot. That's your connection. Or that's them doxing. They're doxing us.
Well, it's also Margot blaming me for every inconvenience she can imagine.
Well, yeah, that's what I was kind of getting. I was like, okay, so you got kicked out of StreamYard, and instead of blame StreamYard for it or your shitty connection or your inability to, use technology, you're going to blame Jack. My buddy Jack over here gets blamed for everything. I mean, there's some shit he does, right? There's some shit he has done in his life, but Jesus, lady, does he really need to take everybody's shit?
Yeah, that's Babylonian fucking nonsense. It's in all caps. It says legal notice. It says no trespassing. None of those fucking words are defined.
And there's a border around it.
Yeah, that sign doesn't
read
say
the whole thing.
Well, you
All
just have to read
officers,
warning.
governmental agencies, including but not limited to federal officers of the IRS, HEW, HUD, environmental, health, social service workers, and other unconstitutional agencies, as well as members of planning and zoning boards. Gives the title numbers, USC section 241, 242, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
You're hereby advised of the following federal criminal law. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any citizen in free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution or the laws of the United States, or because of his having so exercised the same, or if 2 or more persons go in disguise on the highway or on the premises of another with the intent to prevent or hinder his free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege so secured, they shall be fined not more than $10,000 or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And if death results, they shall be subject to imprisonment for any term of years or for life. Land use fee $5,000 per person per day or any part thereof.
Thank you for that, sir. Thank you for that insanely long, rambling, horribly connected.
Well, I didn't know if you could see it, so I figured I'd read it to you.
That was like 30 seconds of Illuminati right there. I wasn't listening to shit. I'm sorry, John.
I need slave news. Coronation slaves are acting up. We're getting to it. Getting everything out of the way. Breaking. We have to cover this.
I don't know what this truther community guy's saying. 3 viewers. I don't know what he's talking about.
It's a completely peaceful demonstration. The police, without telling us why, without telling us where they're taking them, have arrested all the rallying organisers. They've seized all our placards.
Seizing the slaves. Yes. This is part of new coronation. This is the nuance of kingship. If I'm going to be crowned, of course, some slaves have to be made examples.
It feels like something out of a police state because we still don't know why anyone's been arrested, and we still don't know where they're taking our people. You know?
Well, they're taking them for re-education.
Slave.
How dare you be shunning the king's coronation in public?
Protest.
I look
Not
forward to
my
a day like
king.
Kim Jong-un when everyone stands around for days on end and is forced to cry for me. Right? I'm going to hold an event and I'm going to make everyone hear. I'm going to say, come up and cry as you're supposed to in front of the world and do it for hours and days on end. That's proper service. So you don't want to like venerate the king for hours and days and weeks on end. You want to like have an attitude walking around town and we hear some stuff. Oh yeah, it's going to be a problem. So now he's crying, oh, we don't know where we're being taken. Right. Well, you're a bunch of effeminate, estrogenated soy slaves with no guns anymore and no God-given rights, and the king runs your life. And you don't know how to like invoke the common law because like there's dual jurisdiction over there. And if you just said like probably 10 or 15 things at most, probably just let you go. But you don't know how to manage your affairs and you don't know how to speak because you're an illiterate slave. That's what slaves are, is they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to think properly. They don't know how to apply themselves. And then they whine and cry about getting whipped by the master they keep choosing. That's what makes it so great, right? So it makes it like the greatest sorcery mocking ritual ever, because you had your whole life to figure out how to get the king's English down, figure out the words and terms, present them in an honor-able, respect-able, presentable way, and move your ass along. But they don't care to do that. It's fish and chips time, right? We're going to bingo, whatever the fuck else they do over there. Who the fuck else knows? Well, the cricket. We're going to fish and chips and cricket, and drink some ale, just like slaves here. It's not cricket, it's ale, McDonald's, and sporting, foosball, right? So a slave doesn't change no matter where you go, whatever land you go. It's a little bit of a different lingo, a little bit of a different goofy accent, and the same slave mind and heart and lifestyle.
Hey, Paul, you know what I've been noticing on these, lately now that I'm looking at videos more often, behind the scenes, I see that oftentimes these people are wearing brand new clothes, like that dude that was wearing that hashtag not my king sweater. It's just like, it seems pretty fucking, I don't know, maybe staged.
They're staging things, some folks might say.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking, because like when you look at them and their clothes are like brand spanking new on like every single person that gets on the news.
They might have just ordered a batch up and said, hey, we're going to go do the king event today, and handed them out.
I was even looking at the police though. All the police had like clean ass fucking their little jackets on and shit.
These are UK. They are very domesticated, clean, comfort freak slaves. So it would also make sense that everything looks just right. They're prim and proper. Everything's in its place.
That's true. I'm just a savage American. I'll shut up.
That's the thing, and we get made fun of for that, but that's part of our appeal, right? Like, I show up somewhere and somehow everyone likes me better, even though sometimes I'm a little bit rough around the edges. Oh, the American is cool. He is not wearing the special sweater, right? Whatever their special sweater outfit is, the latest thing off the rack. So yeah, I just have the same, T-shirts. I have a blue one, a black one, a gray one. There's no name on it. There's no brand. There's no identity attached to it. I am that am. So I look forward to a day where I am that am resurfaces. You might want to say the return of the Christ. When we get to the place of I am that am, understanding I am that am, we won't have darkness ruling over everyone. But that's a big if. We're going on a few thousand years, maybe a few more thousand years, and we'll get there. Just put the helmet on first, okay? Put the goggles and the helmet on and put these wires in you, and it's going to get a lot better, I suspect. Okay, just go with it. Go with it. We have some wildfires, and you can't see me doing the air quotes. I'm doing them right now. I'm air quoting wildfire right there. Timmy showing you the air quotes because, dozens of wildfires all of a sudden, we do this every year, have broken out across Alberta and Saskatchewan because, it's just so fucking hot there. And, green stuff just burns so readily, so easily. So, yeah, a bunch of green forests are on fire, dozens of them, and they're wildfires, of course, happened.
The feeling is unnerving.
Naturally. Okay. Let's get a restart one time. There we go.
April showers bring May forest fires, right? That's the saying.
Near the town of Drayton Valley, about 150 kilometers southwest of Edmonton. Crews are working furiously from the air and on the ground.
The fire is considered out of control at this time, and it's very dangerous.
Looks out of control.
The situation is constantly evolving.
There should be some like
and
heavy
can
metal
change very
playing in the background.
The risk so high, residents from the town and nearby county told they have to go. Like Charlie and Carolyn Kessler, who fled in the middle of the night, they are now living out of their motorhome.
It was scary, smoky, and getting everything done. It's so dry this year; it's terrible. Yeah, and we need rain.
Our house can be replaced. Anything in
Look at
it.
these fat
I'm
slaves.
here with my family and my friends, and my other family is safe.
Fire is also raging near Fox Lake, about 800 kilometers north of Edmonton. Up to 20 homes, a police station, and one business burned down Thursday night.
Yeah, it's apocalyptic
Thousands
vision.
forced to flee.
How did they not get a drone in there? Show us the fucking fire.
Hey, did you guys see how they spell ketchup?
Talking to me, holding me, crying, and telling me what happened. They lost their homes, and my brother lost his home.
You gotta see the irony too, in like all these events, they go to the public, and it's all morbidly obese people who are like have one foot in the grave, going, "I feel safe now." It's like you're really about to die, so you feel safe for whatever event you're seeing outside of you. What's going on inside of you is you're like on the path to a quick death. And again, I mean, I might be talking a little bit to me too there. There's all criticism is self-criticism, but I don't go walking around looking for where I'm safe and not safe. I go, hey, it's a dangerous world. I guess we all better be as careful as possible. So even when you think you're your most safest, you're really unsafe. You just don't know it, I guess.
My nieces
You got her
lost their
safety vest
home,
on.
and I don't know what to say.
These winds and the heat is not making this firefighting any easy on the ground crews. Hopefully, weather permitting, and if the weather works with us, we can come back home. When? I do not know.
The province says there's been more wildfire activity this time of year compared to recent years.
There's a huge fire load in the province right now. Temperatures have been 10 to 15 degrees above normal for a little while now.
Wow.
We still don't have green grass and leaves all over the province, which means that the ground is very dry.
So, Julia, is there any relief in sight?
Well, Anita, crews from Ontario and Quebec are coming to Alberta to help with firefighting efforts, giving firefighters in this province a little bit of a breather. It's been very busy here since last weekend. And weather-wise, there may be some good news. As you've heard, it's hot, it's dry, it's gusty, a perfect storm to fuel these wildfires. Well, the forecast says there may be some rain falling this weekend.
All right. Well, some folks might say that's complete bullshit, but I don't know much about Canada and their wildfire season. Dozens of wildfires, just like they do out here, all over the West Coast. I'm not buying it, but I'm not an expert. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
We got
not
a
after
couple more. Watson.
after the April rains. It's kind of odd, isn't it? That's out of control. I would get it if it's like a long dry season, but
exactly. And this is all recent stuff, man. Growing up, I never heard of wildfires. Rarely, on occasion, but now it's every year almost. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
And once
Well,
again, like,
I would see wild brown people and wildfires, and slaves running wild, going down the drain mentally and emotionally. We got a lot of enemies on the table, huh? A lot of things we need to be fighting, and like fighting fires, fighting brown people at the border, fighting each other over who's going to be our next daddy. That's what gets things done here.
You see, I can state the obvious. I was gonna say I could state the obvious, but I won't because it would be definitely not something to say. But I think you all kind of get the picture of how these fires get started, and I'll just yield.
Well, I saw two things that I take away from that. First is they show really no evidence of a fire. They just show smoke. Like the fact that they can't get any fucking drones in there is laughable and bullshit. So I see I don't see really any evidence of a fire. And then second thing is I love how they just like quickly say these people were told to get out. Residents of the town were told you gotta go. So, once again, as long as the news says, well, experts say, they never make any claims. These guys reported, they never make any actual statements or claims. So they always remove the culpability for themselves. And then they always want to, pitch, state control and how they're sovereign citizens and you're a slave, basically. That's what I got from that.
Well, Margot's down there dropping all the facts she has. So she says Jack tried to scam his own mother. Now she will have nothing to do with him. He is an entitled victim. So she's like shooting facts. I don't know if she's getting doxxed. Talcott's got some kind of agency on her back, trying to keep her from coming on the mic. But I'm going to keep putting the link down there. Come on, Margot.
Yeah, this is not his producer holding her back, because I would like to hear everything she has to say, so that way we have a chance to move through this.
Some woodworking that we're doing here. Tribal person was woodworking there, I think.
No, is it? Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get this audio fixed. It was going crazy on me, and it's back now. I yield.
Margot, so here's another one taking my spot on the broadcast, interrupting people. So you and Benton today are showing me that I'm not welcome here. You guys already took my spot. You guys can interrupt people with the best of them, and I yield. I yield to you, Tribe. You are a chosen one, sir.
So Margot now pointing out the obvious, which is going to really piss Jack off. She comes here to listen to me. I'm a natural. She's good at everything I do, and I'm funny. They never bring this up, but I'll say it for her. And also, like, handsome and attractive. Okay,
hey,
Margot.
That's usually what someone says about a man before she wants to put that man's phallus close to the oral orifices or something.
True.
I'm not going to go
very
that
pure and classy woman. So of course she's not going to like testify to that out in the open, but we can have our suspicions. Let a little bit of mystery in the air. Go ahead, Jack, Mr. Talcott, please.
Hey, I agree. No issue. I have no issues with this comment. It's the previous one, and I'm seeing other people baiting into her bullshit about her accusations of my mother. Margot, you've never spoken to my mother. You're fucking delusional. You have no clue about me or what has truly happened. You are living in a fantasy, and I'm encouraging you. Actually, praise God.
Come on up. The accused has spoken. Margot Davy, you are being requested into the court of unslavia. Bring forth ye evidence to justify said claims.
Aye.
You shall go to the box.
All right, Timmy's my barrister or my bailiff. Moose person is going to be the state prosecution.
You're fucked. I could sell bark to a tree. So if we're turning this around and you're the one going to jail, sucks for you.
Tribal person is my stenographer / council person.
Yes, I'm going to make sure that unslavey is preserved at all costs.
That is important. And I appreciate and respect. I really don't care. I've got nothing to prove to Margot, but as a man who cares, when people are insane, I kind of feel bad for them. And she's living in this life where she's like freaked out. According to her, she's afraid for my neighbors. She lives in fear for the children in my neighborhood. So she's living in a life that sounds pretty fucking scary.
Is it because you smoke marijuana, Jack? Because I've found that there's a lot of people out there that have treated me very, very poorly.
Is
just
it
for the
because
fact
you're
that I smoke
African
herb.
American and/or in transition sexually?
It could be. I don't know. Maybe.
So she is racist. I mean, Margot, we don't want to paint the picture here. We need you to get your technical difficulties together. We need to get I'm not going to be nice to you just because you're a woman. I'm just going to say it like I say it. Get your shit together. Get up here and let's get the show on the road, all right? The show must go on, Margot.
State prosecutor already throwing in the possibility that Margot isn't a racist and or a transphobe. He's off to a rousing start.
The investigation of many codes.
I won't make
code violations.
I won't make
Jack,
any.
Before you say anything, I want to make it very, very clear that right now we are not associated together. Right now, this is me doing my job over here as the head prosecutor. This is not producer Moose. This is prosecutor Moose. So that's the role I'm taking here. Everybody in the crowd, you better understand or don't. It's not my fault if you're retarded.
Hey, I won't make any actual judgments or claims against her other than she is a very confused woman. Those who do not love the truth.
He's maligning to claim it.
Those who do not love the truth.
Judge Unslaved, can you give my man 3 minutes, please? 3 minutes at least. You can cut him off after the 3, sir.
Hey, you know what? Regardless what it is, welcome. This is the Jack Talcott adventure. Thank you for participating in this story today. And this Margot Davey has been a very fascinating character in this story. And I look forward to discovering where this story leads.
These comments, the comments are like a crowd and people are just like yelling shit out. It's like, Jack likes kids. And then it's like, who said that? Come forth and make a statement in front of everyone. And then they just like hide and they don't come up. Here's the entrance to the steamer.
Hey, Jack, have you ever seen that movie? That movie, Pirates of the Caribbean? Jack Sparrow? I feel like you might be that guy. Everybody hated that guy, right? But he went through life and he made it happen, dude. He made it happen. Everything he wanted, right? He almost even got Bootstrap Bill's girl. And that's kind of where I'm going with Margot Davies here. I'm thinking that maybe she's angry at you because maybe she's attracted to you in some kind of way. And that sounds sick. But I've known a lot of women out there that were angry at me and then ended up my girlfriend afterwards. So
why? Well, this is the new Moose who's unyielding. So
sorry, my headphones don't work.
Yeah, well, you got to remedy that. Okay, you can't talk while I'm interrupting. So the only similarity is that Jack Sparrow was a drinker, like Jack was at one point, and says he's quit. Jack Talcott, unlike Jack Sparrow, is not a captain of a ship, cannot lead, apparently. It's not good with women, and it has no notoriety worldwide for anything of redeemable. esteem. So,
Judge, I'm
The
sorry.
record proves different. The record proves different. Last night he had 2 beautiful ladies on his stream. Actually, 3 beautiful ladies on the stream.
yeah, but they wouldn't fuck him.
That's
I
because
must
we
put forth
actually
on the
wouldn't
record.
fly
I
him
have
out.
seen. Wait, Moose. I have seen Jack Talcott captaining a ship. It was in his bathtub in a video on his YouTube a few years back. But I'm pretty sure he was a captain of that ship. Is that correct, Jack?
I captain only my own. Myself.
Right.
I lead only myself. I'm the only one foolish enough to follow me, I guess. But
Jack,
I
what does
lead.
that say about me?
It's well.
Yeah,
it's
don't
not
don't
foolishness.
talk bad
Hey,
about yourself.
No, you're right. That came out wrong. It's foolish in that well, the direction I'm going, it faces many challenges, potential consequences, and it's pretty much unbelievable. So to follow me, to join me, it puts you in a place of what are you thinking?
All I got to say is Jack Sparrow got to where he needed to go, and he had a good time doing it.
Moose,
Hey.
I have to interrupt you. There's a point of order. In the chat, they continually keep asking the same question. Jack, what was it like for you to grow up with your mother? And I yield.
That's an interesting question, Jack. You don't have to answer that just yet. Take a moment to think about it. Timmy, Timmy, do you have anything to say? Give Jack a moment to think.
We're still waiting for the accuser. We don't have all day to just, neutralize the court to wait for this woman to justify her claims. These
And
serious
unlike
claims.
the church,
this
our
man.
bailiff here has never, groped any man or woman that has come into the court of the enslaved. So you don't have to worry about that either. There's no assault charges that will be filed here.
That is true. And you may keep any of your weapons. You must keep them sheathed and don't make any swift movements towards them. And we shall all be peaceful at this time.
Jack, are you ready to answer that question, sir?
Well, I grew up with a mother. It was. So, I mean, that's pretty fucking left field question, and Tribe, for whatever reason, I don't know what fucking answer you wanted.
Your mother, what was it like for you? So the experience, we know you did. We're asking for your feelings and experiences and how
What
it
does my
changed you.
opinion matter? I had a mother. I've explained the situation before. She's a lovely woman who probably never should have had children.
We're
She's
talking
like
about
many
you, your
mothers.
experience.
I'm answering your fucking question, dumbass.
Well, okay, let me clarify.
We give
May I
my
want
man
you to
3
describe
minutes
your
to
mother?
speak.
Excuse me, declare point of order, guys.
Margot's here now. Margot, I'm going back to my chamber. Please introduce me as the
Hi, Paul.
honorable enslaved one at the proper moment. Please introduce the litigants, if you will.
I yield.
I just am asking Jack when the last time he spoke with his mother, who actually is a very
Hold on. Wait. We're not in session yet, Miss. Okay, so we have here the accuser. We have Miss Margot Davy, and we have the accused here in the top left square, the one and only Jack Talcott experience, Yeah, so we shall have now, please all rise for the Honorable Judge Unslavius.
Thank you, Timothy. It's good to be here with the court.
Will you please swear me in?
It's my understanding. Please, ma'am, I'm going to ask you to keep yourself in order.
I apologize.
We're doing some introductories. I don't know what court you're used to. Maybe one of these filthy citizen slave courts where folks come in angry and miserable and just start shouting and acting out. But here we at least have a little bit of pleasantries before we get into the facts of the matter. So greetings, court. It's good to see you all here. My honorable stenographer person, the barrister, of course, for the prosecution, and my bailiff. You folks have a good weekend? Good weekend? Stenographer, good weekend?
Yes,
A little
Jeff.
conversation beforehand. Let the slaves wait a little bit, and then we do a little bit. Okay. All right, let's get to the matter, Timmy, the docket number.
Wait, hold on, Judge. Can we take a 30-second recess? I need to repack this
We haven't even
bong,
begun.
and I
Yeah,
need to be a little relaxed for court.
With this state of guy, every time with this state of guy, the same guy whose suit doesn't ever match correctly. It's always off size and mismatched. Go ahead, state of prosecutor person. Take your recess. Get all your pleasantries and medical emergencies out of the way.
I just want to make sure that I'm nice and calm. I don't want to interrupt Margot. I want to respect her, and by the end of this day, we're probably going to destroy you. But yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
30 seconds. I'll be back.
I didn't hear that. I don't know. The state prosecution person was saying something, but I didn't hear it. I was going over my notes.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you. I was just saying
Right.
how it's a beautiful day. I'm glad to be here, and I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me know when we're ready to go here. Next time, please, bailiff person, make sure that this state prosecutor fellow is ready before you have me walk out and embarrass myself and the rest of the court.
My apologies. I thought he was just going to present like that.
All right, so
like
you know
he
what?
showed up. Like,
How's the wife? She still got the dog?
She's
Little
great.
Dog? She's great.
Yeah, the little cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're working
Yeah,
on
it's
a new
great.
bill here. We're gonna get a lot. Well, we'll talk about it later because there's ears around, but the faculty room.
Yeah.
Let's just say upgrade, okay? All
Nice.
steel appliances, the whole thing. So yeah, we're gonna be in style.
May I
Go ahead.
interject
Yes,
briefly? I'll also be functioning not only as the recorder of these events here, but also as a parliamentarian. So if anyone steps out of order and the all honorable Paul doesn't interrupt or interject at that point, I will step in to bring in a point of order, and the prosecutor here will clarify the points here for Unslavia. I yield.
My wizard creature is here. Of course, he will be playing the role of public pretender.
Okay, I'm loving all of this, but I only have about 15 minutes.
Oh, so Mrs. Margot Davy, she's got a very important day ahead of her.
Well, I'm meeting friends at the pool, so.
Oh, friends at the pool. Well, we have some serious claims on the table here, Margot, and
I'm here. You got 15 minutes. Let's go.
Okay.
Please.
Are we ready, Margot? Chomping at the bit here. Happy wife, happy life. That's how I live at home. So why would the court be any different? Prosecutor person, are you ready here? We got a limited time with the claimant. She's got a busy day.
She may have 15 minutes worth of claims against me. She's imagined all sorts of shit. Sorry, I hope I wasn't out of line there.
Please refrain those comments to when the record has actually begun here in this court, because this is the only record that matters, not anything you say before. Oh,
let's go, slaves. Yes. I'm banging my gavel now.
I would also ask that he refrain from the cussing and swearing.
Thank you, public pretender person. He's there. Why? I heard some noise in the back. I was watching over my notes, looking them over, and then I looked up and I heard some rustling, some giggling from the stands.
I want to be clear that I had nothing to do with her disappearance.
Neither did I.
She seemed to have just slipped out the back door. Maybe she not having honorable intentions. She thinks this is a game or something. A man's reputation is at stake, lest I remind the slaves. I mean, the people. Excuse me.
Okay, the woman's back. I think maybe she's having an event Some sort of a biological event, maybe?
No, for some reason, it just, my connection isn't good. I apologize.
Okay, let's get down to it. Docket number 000666. The case of Jack Talcott, Margot Davey. Let's convene, folks. Please, can we hear the opening statements from Miss Margot Davey, the claimant?
I want to know when Jack Talcott last spoke with his mother.
That's your opening statement, Miss. His
Well,
opening statement is a summary of
okay.
the claim.
So
here.
my summary is that I feel that Jack Talcott is not honest. He claims
Objection, Your Honor. She's in her feelings. I don't think that's something that we can prove as a crime here against Jack. Her feeling about this man has no bearing on this man's reputation.
Bruce person, please.
Jack claims to be a counselor. Jack claims to be a world-renowned speaker. Jack will not own up to the fact that he was fired from the United States Postal Service and has a no trespassing order against them. Jack does not get along with his neighbors. Jack would not commit to being peaceful when he was supposed to be removed from his house. Now he just
all right, Miss Margot, we're here today to talk about how he scammed his mother. We want to know your accusation about how he scammed his mother, ma'am.
Order, slave, order.
Sorry, Judge. Sorry.
Jack had his mother living with him, and he didn't like her living there, so he tried to charge her for living there and then kicked her out when she wouldn't pay him.
Who told you that?
Hold on, Mr. Talcott. You're not making this look good. Hold on.
Well,
wait for our turn.
If I may.
Sir, state of prosecution, slave, you can't instruct.
We go next.
No, you can't instruct Jack Talcott. Okay, cross-talking. You can't instruct him on what to do and not do.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Jack Talcott kicked his mother out of his home when she was living there because
is that what she would say?
He tried to charge her and she was not able to pay, and so he kicked his mother out. And he did speak to her.
All right, you've had your 3 minutes, Margot.
Okay,
I appreciate what you've had to say. Is it our turn yet, sir?
Okay, so go ahead and answer to these charges, if you will, Mr. Talcott.
Yes, first charge. Are you a counselor?
I'm going to answer for him. I know I'm not supposed to, Judge, but
No,
he has
actually,
counseled
I'd like
me
to speak
multiple
for
times, and I would
myself.
say he is a counselor. Go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Moose person, you have to allow Mr. Talcott to give firsthand testimony. I'm not going to allow you to turn.
I'm gonna sit back. I'm not doing this right. I'm gonna be quiet, folks.
How about?
I'm gonna take him to the chamber, Judge.
I see the tribal fellow is anxious to be my prosecutor as well. So, and he wants to ensure that the charges are pursued. But let me address what was already said, if I may. I
recorded the charges. That's all, Jack.
If
no
I
bias,
may
please don't interject.
Order immediately. This is why slavery is abound. Now, please put at least a minute to 3 minutes on the clock for Mr. Talcott to speak unabated.
Very briefly, to address what was just said, Moose, I'd actually like to point out to you that what she's referring to is the description from the recent title. And without loading it, I'd like you to share at some point what my feedback was to you regarding the description on the recent video titling me as a world-renowned or such and such. Now, the other topic regarding my mother, that is, number one, I know for a fact if my mother was asked, she would present quite a different story. When my mother was unemployed and had no place to live, she lived with me. for a period of time, and it was before I was healthy. It was not pleasant, but she was never asked to leave. When she found a new job, she moved on. So your lies, Margot, are unnecessary and unacceptable. I rest.
Judge, we ask for another minute extension, please.
When was the last time you
Hold
spoke
on,
with your
slave. I asked the judge for something.
Point of clarification.
No, when was the last time you spoke with your mother, Jack?
Christmas
Were we
Day.
denied our extra minute of uninterrupted speech? Because I think Jack needs another minute, sir.
I'm going to entertain the questioning of this woman, okay? I'm going to entertain this. The woman is on limited time. Go ahead and proceed with the questioning.
I answered it. I spoke with my mother on Christmas Day. I've been attempting to speak with my mother for some time. However, with all the chaos and accusations against me, she's been reluctant to try and even figure out what's going on because she feels helpless. She doesn't know how to help me. So she's been avoiding me. So I spoke to her on Christmas.
All right, he's answered the question, Judge. I'm going to answer the other question. Okay, about the world-renowned speaker thing. Me and Jack did have a discussion. He wasn't very happy with me overselling his show. He said, please don't try to oversell the show. My exact words to Jack Talcott were, I am trying to bring into existence what I speak and what I say, and so I'm not going to sell you as anything less. So Margot, that was my fault. He did not. He cannot take any of that. That is all.
There's no
moose right
fault.
there.
There's no fault because there was no misrepresentation. Now it could be weakly argued, the claims that were made, but nonetheless, there are facts that support what was written.
No, there is facts to support what was written. Actually, we do have statistics saying that we
Well, then
are
we're all
viewed
Then
worldwide.
we're all world-renowned speakers. And we're all counselors.
Margot, if you want to identify as a tiger, you're allowed to. This is America,
You're out of
ma'am.
order. Please yield.
Please, someone, either Moose Person or Jack Talcott, produce the evidence that Jack is a world-renowned speaker.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I am known for my abilities and the past
What abilities?
speaking
What
I have.
abilities?
Would
What
you shut
abilities?
your trap?
No, I want you to tell me what abilities.
Judge,
you
if
have.
you don't silence this woman, I'm going to have to.
Mr. Moose Person.
Okay, why does Jack? Why
Talcott
does
is
Jack
not
need?
answering the question directly.
Yeah, and I want to know, why does Jack need someone to defend him? I'm here on my own.
Excuse me, ma'am.
No, I'm
We're
not
going to be
gonna
asking the
excuse you.
questions in a moment. You had your time to speak, and now it's Jack's turn.
I'm asking
So
him to
silence
answer the
your
question.
slave ass up before I have to
Quiet,
come over
Moose.
there and
Quiet,
silence
Moose.
you
You're out of order.
myself.
You will not
Yield.
badger this claimant, Moose. You will not
What
turn
are
this
his
court into a
capabilities?
mockery like that outfit you're wearing.
What are his capabilities? What is he capable of doing?
He is
I'm
capable of making a presentation hours
Well,
long.
everybody is. Everybody
No,
is.
no, no.
Hey,
Everybody
hold
isn't
on, hold
capable
on.
of that, Margot.
Moose, hold on.
Yes, they
And
are.
Margot,
I'm
Margot,
gonna have this state of person dragged out of here.
Every
hold
Shall I
on.
drag him out?
Listen, every
Margot,
school in the
so
country,
what?
it is one of the learning standards to learn how to give a presentation.
So what, Margot?
Anyone
So
that went to
what?
school can
Hey,
be a
Margot.
presenter.
Hey, Margot.
What?
The facts are there. Now,
What?
just
What
because,
fact? What fact? That you're a presenter? Everyone's a
yes.
presenter. Anyone that went to
Hey,
grade
Margot.
school is a
Hey,
presenter.
Margot.
What?
Who cares? We're not talking about everyone. There are facts that support the fact that, number one, I have served in the role of a counselor for many, many people in many times and in many different capacities. I have
But
performed
you're not.
and
But you're not.
there you go.
Margot,
You're-
if you cannot silence yourself for 2 minutes, ma'am.
Because
Jesus.
he's full of shit. He's full of
Please.
shit.
We have Jack Talcott on record with the documentation up to as little as a few days ago, claiming on the record that he is suicidal and that
No,
he's
not
struggling
true.
with.
That is
with
not what he
living.
said, Your Honor.
That
That
is
is not
not
what he said.
Jack
Do not
Talcott.
try to
am
twist this
prepared.
man's
Moose,
words.
you're out of order, sir.
He's
Jack
not a
Talcott
counselor.
said Jack
not a
Talcott said
counselor.
he struggles waking up in the morning and dealing with
Not
his life,
true.
and he has to wake up again.
That's
And
a
he does it.
misrepresentation of
Well,
the
I will get
fact.
the
Holy
exact.
shit.
I will
Don't
get the
worry, Jack.
exact
I just
audio
took her
clip.
to the
Holy
I took her to the
shit.
back of the courtroom, and we don't have to deal with her anymore. We can move on, Jack.
Bailiff, deal with this moose creature.
Yeah.
All right, to the chambers, Moose Creature.
Moose
You want to
Creature.
make this physical?
Moose Creature is now going to be detained for his contemptuous
No,
behavior.
I'm more concerned about the misrepresentation from Unslavius, and especially in the context of the very fucking clear evidence.
You had a mental and emotional breakdown.
No, right,
and you
Paul.
came on here
Hey,
and said that
years ago, I had that emotional breakdown. The context of my recent words are, I am so in love with everything that is as of now and today, that praise be, I look forward to meeting the Creator. That which allows me to experience this, yes. I want a closer relationship with God than I've got right now. So I look forward to life ending in that regard. I'm not suicidal.
Well, I'll get the exact audio clipping, and it was something
That's
that was
fine.
alluding to the idea that you hated your life and hated waking up in the morning.
I
And-
do hate waking up to
Hey,
this
well.
same position where I face accusations and interrogations and all sorts of bullshit, rather than, hey, Jack, you got a lot of shit going on in your life. What can we do to help? That would be a magical words. I would love to hear that one day, but praise be.
Well, we
Margot
have
got
our
to defend me again publicly, and
we have our wizard person who's our public pretender, and he has a list of resources that he can provide for you. If you're searching for some help from the court, we can absolutely do that for you, Mr. Talcott. Not a problem.
I don't want help from a court. I do want help from people who care about what truth is. Because this bullshit of her casting all these false claims, this has been going on since 2018. I have been begging for an opportunity to face any of my accusers, and here kind of is. But
well,
all right,
here's
I'm
a
just going to
question
call
that's
it
left.
officially. We're adjourning. Adjourning the court of Unslavius. The Margot person has slipped out of our clutches again. She was making.
That's what happens when you mess with the moose.
She's escaped jurisdiction.
You're out of order. Get this state of creature, because we have some kind of agreement where I can't put my hands on him and abuse him. But
I got the cuffs here.
Yeah.
I got the cuffs here for Moose.
No, you can't technically. He's immune to all that. Apparently, this is some part of the system. But just get him out of here. I don't want to look
Moose,
at him.
give me your wrist. Give me your wrist. Put him in here.
Yeah, you can't arrest him. Well, you can. I didn't see that. I'm retiring to my chambers. If you decide to arrest him, that's officers of discretion.
Here, Moose, I have mini cuffs for you, buddy.
Well, there were some questions unanswered that we have on the record, Jack. So we'll
keep
next time.
that allegation. So do you want to resolve it, or you want to continue your false narrative?
Oh, they're just questions that we had on the record here. It said, did you ever?
Let's resolve it rather than complain about it. What do you want to know?
Did you ever charge your mother for living there?
No.
Okay.
So now is the charge of unanswered questions being placed on the record? You were just running with that.
No, the next question.
Did that get resolved?
Did you ever ask your mother or attempt to charge your mother to live there?
I don't believe I did. I don't recall, but I don't believe I did.
That's just how cross-examining works, Jack. That's okay.
She did provide some groceries to help with the family. Did I cross the line with that, tribe? I don't know what is the pursuit of this line of questioning. You seem to want to attack my integrity and my character over and over and over. So
he's just asking about the claims. I need you to rein in the demeanor, please. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to take you out for contempt. Yeah, he's just asking you the questions about the claims, sir. Please keep your emotions at order. Thank you very much.
Yes, I mean, I can continue with the questioning, but I don't believe it'd be appropriate until we have the accuser here as well. And from there, I'm just asking for clarification of the record at this point. I don't want to go any further than that, Jack, but I have the answers I needed. And we'll continue this in the next session.
Yeah, we've adjourned already. We've adjourned already. So, tribal person, what exactly is your background? How does your head get that shape? You know what? Let's move on. Let's move on. So we did adjourn officially. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves, whatever manner you please, and I'll act like I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, this is the judge's chambers. I thought, how they always figure out the case in the chambers after it's adjourned. That's what I thought we were, but never, yeah, I yield.
I just want to say that, my man Jack Talcott is innocent of all these charges until we go forward. So anybody out there tries to push forward that any of these claims are actually true, we will hold it against you.
Hey, thank you, actually, because I'd like to point that out to Tribe. I mean, there's supposedly isn't one innocent until proven guilty.
That's true.
I mean, there's all these claims, and I'm being treated as though I'm guilty. It's like, what the fuck?
That's fair, dude. That's fair. The lady made a bunch of fucking claims, and then, oh, my computer, and then doesn't substantiate with evidence, facts and evidence. Motherfuckers just want to complain. Nobody ever wants to just make a claim and then back it up with evidence. So until then, I reserve judgment of you on any specific thing, Jack. I mean,
that's all I ask. Thank you. That's all
on these specific things.
Yeah,
in the past 8 months.
And to Timmy's point, is that presentment speaks volumes when you're in court, because when you become defensive, when you become belligerent, when you become contemptuous, then it builds suspicion. And then we start asking more and more questions. And then we want to cross-examine to see if you're really being honest. And if you weren't, they're going to find out.
To fend for that action, just for a second though, it's like you're not. It's not really like you didn't really give him it wasn't really, the court wasn't really working anymore, and the claim, it wasn't like, all right, tell me about this claim and did this happen?
So Timmy person now, Aluma Slavery's down there saying we're ripping off the Lagoon creature, as if you could rip someone off doing everything better than what they do, as if we weren't doing court like 6 months ago before the Lagoon creature was ever even part of our reality.
And may I just explain here, this isn't even a mock court. This is literally a mockery court. We're just having fun with it and playing back and forth and exploring, limits and possibilities that you normally would in the real world. So it's a good experiment. It's a good exercise is what we're doing here. So no one should interpret this as legal lawful information in any way or think they should practice this for their personal private use in a court of law. Don't do this at home. But yeah, so this is just a simulation, as we would say, but not for any particular reason other than entertainment and educational purposes, right?
I say you should do this at home and practice communication.
All right, that should be okay.
That's what I say. I hope my family watches this one day and then starts doing this. This would be great. Better than just ignore, sweep under the rug, and pretend that all those giant elephants aren't actually in the room. It would be nice if folks would make claims and then have evidence and then press a claim like, hey, I say X, you did wrong, and then therefore I demand or require Y.
Well, this also explores the process itself and what makes a process valid too, as we play around with the limits of it, what's humorous, what's absurd, and what's real and truthful. And where the truth really comes out of this in the end is that although we may be playful with it, there is a serious intent in the end. So I think it's a good exercise. It's a good broadcast, and it's unique in that way. And that's why I enjoy participating here. And Paul really gives us a good place to bring some great people together to do it. So salute.
Hey, if I can jump in here with what you said, Tribe, I agree. This was not a mock trial, kind of a mockery, but here's the reality. This is really my fucking life. That woman has used these positions of authority and fucking police to file reports against me with no evidence, just accusation after accusation. And so my efforts here in Spokane to try and actually help support the efforts of what's happening with the homeless. Remember, I'm actually against the poverty and wars. So I'm trying to help people in my community, but that woman has gone out of her way to make my life more difficult. So I understand it's a mockery, and hey, my life is a joke. So I don't know. There's something here. Thanks. I mean, tribe, I'm just encouraging you. You might want to step back from being on her side, because this woman literally, she loves authority. The Pope, the president, even today she's saying, God save the king. I don't think she's kidding. You want to be on her side, dude, against me? God bless you, brother.
Jack, I'm not on anyone's side. Understand that. I'm just keeping record. I'm answering the points that were on the record, and I'm trying to keep it truthful and honest. I mean, this is one of the challenges they'll pull us through, whenever you deal with any of the ones that have power. So if you can at least do it this way, in the most fundamental way, I'm with you on this. At that point, if what you're saying is true now, right, then there's going to be record of what you're claiming here. And in essence, what you're saying there is that if indeed she is filing reports that are not indeed factual, and there's a pattern and practice of that, then there's a cause of injury and harm to you. There's public humiliation, there's mental anguish, there's all kinds of financial losses associated with that. There's literally collateral damage when you lose your house over mental anguish due to someone's efforts that are repeated and intentional. And it's very easy to prove that.
But dude, that's bullshit, dude. That's not lawful. That only happens in complaint courts. I say that's bullshit. You can't fucking tell me that emotional anguish is like a thing that I can actually lose my property over. Get the fuck out of here, because that's like how is that persona that steps into the legal court, she's not able to manage her own mental space? Like, that's bullshit, dude. I don't think that can.
No, Jack is the one showing loss, injury, and harm in this, not her. She's the one causing it. If she's indeed following a practice of falsifying reports in order with the intention of causing Jack to be, disabled from following his pursuit of happiness, use of property, liberties.
But where do we go with that? He's gonna make a counter claim saying that she.
No, he's making that. So he's making the claim, not counter claim.
I understand. All right, so fine. It's irrelevant though. Okay, so he's making a claim that she defaced his reputation, and then what though? Like, where do we go with that? Like,
Well,
you have to be able to show that there's like an X dollar amount that somebody said, hey, Jack is an asshole, right? And then you got to be able to prove that you can put like a dollar amount on that. Like, where do we go with it, right?
Timmy, you only have to do that if you want punishment. I'm not looking for punishment. I am seeking correction and correction of the record. I kind of agree with you, Timmy, to some regard, that there's emotional pain and stuff. There is and is not validity to that. I mean, it can go.
But you're right. You're right. You can press your claim to be whatever the fuck you want, right? It's just that is the jury going to agree? Like, typically
you can say, you'd have to show damages. You'd have to prove that you had to go through years of therapy because of what somebody inflicted on you, which you did consensually, which really doesn't work unless it's a child involved, right?
No, that's not what he's saying though. He's saying like the only resolution he actually wants is that the record is like clean, and then like the truth like is revealed, right? He doesn't want a dollar figure or anybody to go to some cage, right? He's just like, yo, I want my name cleared, so I just like this to be like reconciled, which I think is fair. I think that's definitely a fair claim.
Somebody brought up Alex Jones, and we never got to. I actually had it. I had it in the stack today. No, I have Pierce Morgan debates Alex Jones, and it was right after a gun incident. So maybe I'll just skip right to the, this moment in history, because this was a good moment. Clip from that. Whether Alex Jones is real or not, as I remember him, he used to make some pretty damn good points with a lot of people until he did the whole Trump trained statist swing. So I don't know what that's about.
Alex Jones used to interview people that went over his head, but the fact that he was willing to interview them and put them out there, and these guys get a platform, I learned a lot from those early interviews, believe it or not, more than what he was actually saying. If you listen closely to the people he's interviewed, he'd let them go off, and they would speak some real heavy truth if you'd listen carefully.
Well, Alex Jones was a harbinger, as they say, of what was to come, and I am much like a Alex Jones 2.0, very much lower level, I guess you could say, a lot lower level. But I also am shadow banned and put at the bottom of all the Facebook and YouTube algorithms. And I'm sure if they could have their way at some point, a claim will be made and they'll have me taken out of here if they're able. I'm not too sure they're able because I don't deal with attorney slaves like Alex Jones who talk for me and then make deals and don't defend you. So
Alex Jones is always on the kind of dark side. You're more of the harbinger of happiness.
Well, I don't know about all that, sir, but let me get to this moment in history when Piers Morgan debated AJ, everybody's favorite truther theorist / possible agent person.
Here's how this is going to work, and it's entirely down to you. I'm going to ask you some questions in the spirit of a proper debate, and you've had a lot to say so far on the show, a lot of it aimed at me, which is fine. But I want you to try and answer the questions. It's a proper debate, okay? I'm not trying to trip you up.
No, it's not a debate. You're running the show. You bring in your victims up front.
Actually, no.
Look, you got your little note cards.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, this is why I kind of identify with this guy because I probably would do the same thing. I mean, I do it here like day in and day out. So, yeah, if I was up there, I probably would have just cut him off and interrupted and went on a rant. So, that's why I guess at one point identified so much with Alex Jones, at least on some levels. And then we break off like I do with most people.
I just gave you FBI statistics that violent crime and gun crime is down over 20%.
Let me just ask you
And
this.
you want to go to little factoids.
No, they're not little
Anybody can pull
factoids.
those up. Listen.
Do you know what...
Do you have a bodyguard?
Alex.
Why do you have bodyguards?
I don't have a bodyguard.
Yeah, I've seen you on the news with them. Don't you want to protect your wife from hoodlums or you want to call the police?
Let me ask you this question.
Why does Dianne Feinstein tell 60 Minutes that she plans to
great.
try to take Mr. and Mrs. America's guns?
He's uncivilized.
You guys want to disarm all of
He's
America.
cutting everyone
Dianne
off.
Feinstein's
No, I
bill does.
I don't.
Gun confiscation.
No, let me clarify for you. You don't seem to understand
First
what
you
it is I
register,
want.
then you confiscate. It's always done the same.
Here's what the campaign on this
Well, here,
show
give me your
is.
little cue cards and I'll answer your questions for
What
you.
was the weapon used for Sandy Hook?
I've already gone over that and already answered it for
We
you.
haven't talked about Sandy Hook.
No, again,
What was the weapon?
It's a 223 M4.
Right.
Again, but
It's an-
statistically,
right.
they're using very low percentage of
Right,
shootings.
but are you-
Period.
are you
but
seeing-
you guys?
are you seeing a
people wouldn't
pattern?
go swimming because the movie Jaws,
biggest-
even though great white
Alex,
sharks kill 5 people a
Alex,
year.
Alex,
you're trying to scare people.
Let me say something.
There's no metal shark in the water.
The same type of weapon was used in the last
Yeah,
three
and that's right.
mass shootings.
And Hitler used semi-autos to kill people.
Why would you
And
not?
so did Mao.
Why would you?
Why is the government
Why
arming to the
would you-
teeth against us?
Alex, I don't
What
have-
about Fast and Furious?
Alex,
Why did our government ship guns
calm
into
down.
Mexico?
Alex,
To blame the Second Amendment?
let's have a debate.
A false flag?
Alex,
To blame the
I get
Second Amendment?
accused. I get accused.
Why they blow up Building 7
Alex,
down the street here
Alex,
in New York?
I get accused when I get you guys on of talking over you, of being rude. I'm trying to be civil,
Yeah.
right? You've got to try and answer some of the questions, right? Here's my issue for you. Why do people civilians need an AR-15 type assault rifle? Why
Okay,
do
I
you
already
need them?
said statistically they're using
But no,
a very
answer
low
the question.
amount of the crimes. That's an FBI fact.
They've been
show to
used
you.
in the last three mass shootings.
Yes.
Why do
I'll tell
people
you
need
why.
them?
Because they advertise it in the media. Anybody knows that if somebody jumps off the Empire State Building, they put cops up there the next day because copycats come to do it again. The media hypes and hypes and hypes.
And that's not the
Don't
question.
just commit suicide.
Alex, why do people
Go commit
need them?
suicide by killing a bunch of kids. And here's the gun to use
Alex,
because it's the one the U.S. Army uses.
Why do people need them?
They need them to protect us from the number one killer in history. Government in the 20th century, university study out of Hawaii killed 292 million people. It's called democide. Google it, folks.
Do you believe everyone in America should everyone in America therefore have an AR-15 if they want one?
Yes.
Statistically, where there's more guns, there's lower crime. The highest crime is in Bloomberg.
But you have the most
controlled
guns
areas.
of any of the 23 richest countries in the world. And you have
Well, America was born on guns and whiskey.
Right. But
it's true we're a violent society.
Right. So you
but
accept that America has the most
knives
guns
kill
and the
3
most gun
times more.
murders.
Have you seen the FBI numbers? Knives, bats, rocks kill many
Let's
times
talk-
more.
Alex, let's talk
It's
about
not
the guns.
It's not the rock. It's not the
Right.
knife. When a mother chops her kids up with a cleaver because she's on serotonin.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Why don't you want to get rid of the drugs?
AR-15s.
Because they're half your sponsors?
No, stick to the subject.
America's #1 cause of unnatural death now is suicide.
Alex,
not
let's try
automobile
again.
accident, not cancer, not.
You
Listen,
accuse me of attacking the Second Amendment of the Constitution.
I want to get people off pills that the insert says will make you commit suicide and kill people.
Alex, let's get about the Second
I
Amendment.
want to blame the real culprit.
Alex.
Suicide pills.
Alex.
Mass murder pills.
Okay, let me ask you one question. Your belief, unless I'm wrong.
First time anybody's ever heard this, by the way.
Your belief, unless I'm wrong, is that under the Second Amendment, your real concern is that you will be overrun by a tyrannical regime, either from somewhere else.
Yeah,
or
highway
from your own government.
checkpoints. Look at Mexico. Total gun ban for the citizens. Highest crime rate in the world. 57,000 people dead the last 5 years. Total gun ban for the citizens.
But your
Switzerland has the lowest crime rate in Europe. Your country has the highest.
Alex, we have 35 gun murders a year. You have 11,000.
You people get their brains. It's the higher crime rate.
Let me ask
Violent crime is higher.
On this specific.
It's brains.
Alex,
it's people.
I'm trying to get inside your brains.
Pierce,
It's
if
not
you
proving
punched
very
me right
easy.
now, it'd be not your fist, but your brain that did
Alex, let me get inside your brain.
Okay.
Okay? I'm serious. You have a very, very big platform. You air, I think, on 63 networks.
No, that Wikipedia is like 10 years old. I'm on over 140 stations. XM.
Millions of Americans hear you.
Over 1.5 million visitors to Infowars.com
And
a
I
day.
congratulate
Where we have
you
the
on your
statistics
audience.
posted right now. Infowars.com.
Who do you believe was behind 9/11?
Oh, I absolutely know. I have the police on CNN saying, get back, they're going to blow up 7. I have BBC reporting.
Who do you believe was behind
I have the proof. I heard them on CBS Radio.
Who, Alex?
They announced they blew up the towers on CBS Radio.
do you believe-
New Yorkers all saw it and heard it.
Alex, who do you
They
believe?
blew up Building 7.
Alex, who do you believe was behind it? The American government?
Criminal elements of the military-industrial complex, the same ones that staged Gulf of Tonkin, the same ones that staged Operation, the mass shootings of Operation Gladio.
Right.
Ooh, the CIA don't like this
Alex,
right now.
Do you mean that President Bush and his administration were behind 9/11?
I mean that even mainstream news reported that the hijackers were ordered to be allowed into the United States. Michael Springman, the head of the visa department, blew the whistle on that.
So the Bush administration was part of a conspiracy.
Well, he said never let us tolerate
to murder Americans.
To murder. I can speak in this accent as well.
Yeah.
The
But is that what you
government,
believe?
Hitler firebombed his own Reichstag, Pierce, to bring in martial law in Germany, April 27th, 1933. Governments have staged terror attacks throughout history or allowed terrorists to attack.
That's why
as
they
a
say you
pretext
fake. I
to
mean, bro, how
invade
many guns
and
do you
enslave
own? How
all
many
the
guns do you
populations.
The whole thing's a joke.
I probably own more than
being
50
there is a
firearms.
fucking joke.
Many of them have increased in value 2, 3, or even 4 times. I sleep very comfortably outside Austin,
Okay.
Texas, knowing
Alex?
that I can defend my family.
Okay, Alex Jones. This is the man-
Infowars.com.
This is the man who wants to deport me from the country for wanting to get rid of
No, it's
assault
to
rifles,
point out you're a
which
foreigner,
commit
a
mass
red coat,
outrages.
here telling us what to do.
Whatever.
Go back to where they took the guns if you don't like it. The communist.
America.
I don't know, man. That shit.
How many different roles? How many different roles does this guy play?
In what sense?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's always projecting a different a different meaning behind his character. You know, the trial he just had, and now this. I never heard him speak like this before, but I was never a big follower of him either. But
Well, again, I mean, that's sort of different venue, right? I mean, at court, it's not going to be on TV, and on TV, it's not going to be on his broadcast, and on his broadcast, it's not going to be in the living room. So, you know, the presentment's liable to change. You have to, I guess, find the consistency there, the continuity, and, you know, leave out whatever's bullshit. I mean, again, he was whining and crying about Donnie one week, and then the next week he's the best thing ever. He's all we got. We got to go in on him. And then a week later, he's at war with him again. He's crying. You know, I don't know what the fuck. Like, how could you be that deep into all of it and still buy into Donnie and that being our only hope, bro? I mean, did you not get the memo?
this is what I mean. Does he just get a different script? I don't know.
Well, that's what, again, at some point, I used to listen to that guy fairly regularly. Probably going back now, what, six years ago, at least, or more. And then it just became clear the more time went on, something's up, you know, because and again, I also don't leave out just giving people the credit they're due, being supremely ignorant as beings. So I don't know, like, does the rule change for Alex Jones when it comes to everyone just looking at the world stage and going, well, we have to buy into the narrative on some level because the alternative is we're crazy sovsits.
Where's the best place to hide a lie?
Plain sight.
Between two truths. Hey, just my opinion, guys. I don't know.
Well, look, I mean, when you know, when you this is why I don't jive really with the truth exposés anymore. I think they're bullshit because motherfuckers want to talk about what they perceive as what is true, and then they don't give a motherfucking inkling of a solution or what to do about it or how they solve it. It's just like Gossip Girl circle, and I've been looking at fucking AJ for 20 years, 15 years, since 2006. Motherfuckers rap hasn't changed. It's like, okay, I get it. You don't like what's going on. You're kind of exposing some things, but then it's like.
But he's protecting something else, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. My intuition tells me that.
The true law, the true foundation of this land and where we get our power and where we lose it, right? So, that's the thing. It becomes about, okay, InfoWars, we got the documents, conspiracies are everywhere, we got that. What do we do? Well, no one's really sure other than buy like more supplements, powders, vitamins, and bone broth and wait for the end of the world to come. Meanwhile, there's a whole understanding of these words and terms that I and others bring and whole different perspective. And again, if you bring that to him or Mark Passio or the rest of them who all operate together, seems like some of us are on the outer fringes to the point where I have folks from these networks saying, well, we want you to talk to these people. And I go, okay, I do it. Get them in the room with me. And they don't get in the room with me. And then I have to go, well, it's either like I'm doing an ego thing where I think I'm important and other people have told me that, or there's a reason they won't get in the room with me because they're not going to talk to me about God-given rights, the law of the land, how to apply that, and how to opt out of their policy, statute, and code. They're not going to do it. That's why they hire attorneys. Every one of these people is off the list when they have to go to court and hires attorneys. So I know they could say, well, I'm a sovsit, right, but you're represented by another man who works for a corporate system that has its certain rules and ideas about how it's going to proceed. So you're a slave.
Allegiance is elsewhere.
Right.
Somebody's saying that they're criticizing the way I said his rap hasn't changed. What I'm saying is he's pooling all of the folks that think differently about the current quote unquote situations of what Babylon is doing, and then it's like locking folks into this fear state. It locks you in to fear, and then day after day you show up to his fucking radio broadcast for 4 hours a day and you stay locked in fear. Oh fuck. It's this. It's like the fucking We Are Awake folks. I'll use that word. Every day is, it's fear, 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 fear. And that's what they're selling. They sell the fear, and then they also sell you some fucking supplements on the side. It's like, bro, and then at the same time, just like the cuck body outline, you want to say, oh, but praise Jesus. That's the only thing that's been giving me strength to continue. I'm like, bro, you don't get it. If you're gonna like sell fear all fucking day and then say, yeah, but praise Papa Jesus, he's gonna figure this all out for us. Let's just keep talking about documents and complaining.
Well, if that's the case, right, I just go back to what I know and what I do. True faith is, if you really believe on Jesus, then you should have something that I and others don't, because you say that I'm a deceiver. Why is it you got to charge for all these extras? Because I proved the concept that if you're in true faith and everything is donation based and voluntary contributions. I don't even pass a hat around. It just sits in the corner. You can walk over there. If not, we continue on. So, I'm always wary of folks and their spiritual faith when I see that they live a lifelong pattern and habit of expectations and goals that have to be hit financially and then bigger and better and more when when we get right down to the ground level, you're just as much of a kept pet slave as everyone else, if not more so, because you got all this money and power and status, and you're doing little with it other than refocusing everyone on something that doesn't lead them back to themselves and truth.
I don't think people like Gates and Bezos and all that, I don't think they can just spend that money like they want to. I think they need permission to buy things beyond a certain point. You know, they can buy cars and yachts and stuff like that. But if they want to go buy a business or something like that, I think they need permission to spend that money. My opinion.
Bro, you see what they're doing with me? Like, it's a relatively like small channel in the scope of things. Like, I'm nobody, and they're like constantly fucking with voluntary contributions. They're like so mad and hating that we got one here who's getting out of the net. You know, we deemed him mentally and emotionally ill. We deemed him to be criminal minded. We deemed him to be unworthy of trade and certain corporate arena because he won't behave and cooperate and follow rules and policy. Right. So to see somebody get out of their net of bullshit for everybody else and then go and do better, like way better than I was doing off voluntary contributions, they can't stand that because that's where everyone's empowerment's going to come from. They can't have symbols of true empowerment from the ground up out of the mud because that inspires people. They got to give you these fucking middle of the road folks who play both sides against the middle, right? And just kind of leave certain ideas out, right? You'll talk about whatever you want, get everybody whipped up into fear, but just leave these certain things out so the slaves never really figure out where to go. You just keep arguing over all the shit on the table, right?
Another side to that too is as people start learning, convince them that they can't do anything about it. What you're saying about AJ making a living off of the fear, if he believed there was a solution, he'd be focused on the solution instead of the profits. But here's the cool thing, right? As far as I know, never in history have there been the characters that are alive today, right? And that includes us. And I think we are the ones who are here to break the chains. We're here to move the goal line a little farther than those who came before us have, as far as creating freedom and prosperity for us all. Because see, people like AJ, they've been out there while I was asleep in the dream. You know, people like him and many, many, many others have been out there trying to expose the truth. But the trap is in that fiat currency, because it becomes the excuse. Well, if I can't change the world anyway, well, I may as well make some profit on the way. So what can I sell in order to make my life easier? And I'm not saying that's what people do, but sorry.
Alex Jones got his really big, he became, infamous, famous, whatever, with his sneaking in Bohemian Grove, right? So, I mean, do you think that was his ticket given to him in order to put him in place to do the job he's doing as a gatekeeper or whatever? To keep the distractions alive so we never get to the source or the names of the people that are controlling all this bullshit.
So I mean, how ridiculous is that narrative, right? That he snuck in. Like they wouldn't have, if it was real, all of that stuff, like they wouldn't have the most fierce security.
Hey, bro, never underestimate the complete incompetence and ineptness of folks who think that there's no consequences. Because again, I've pretty much walked into places and, we've all kind of, certain people have been in those situations where
this isn't just a place. This isn't just
I get that, but they would never expect a slave to come walking in there. So when one does, it's like they're not, it's just not, with so many of them there and doing what they're doing and with their own, just they're people too, man.
Yeah, I'm not denying the possibility. I just think it's really unlikely.
Maybe, but again, don't underestimate either the incompetence and or the will of a human being who wants to do what the fuck they're going to do. So someone like me, if someone came to me and said, hey, we got an in on a back way into this place and we've observed it, I might think about doing it. Why not? What's the upshot? What are you going to do to me? They're going to do it anyway. So again, I don't we can't say one way or the other.
No,
because that's how everyone gets written off as an agent automatically, right? Because they'll do the same thing with me. They say, why is Paulie Boy walking through metal detectors and going up into court and telling everyone to go fuck themselves and never go to jail permanently? He must be an agent, right? Those are the most secure and whatever, and you can't fight City Hall and all the rest of it. So it's a slippery slope between everyone being an agent and some folks just not giving a fuck and then being so stupid and or just expecting nobody to do nothing that it is that easy. Right? It's like, it's literally, that's how the movie would be written, is that these people are just so used to being in charge and nobody doing anything or questioning it, that when people finally do, it's like, how could that happen? Well, because that's all it took, right? The line was that thin between us just stop giving our power away and taking it back versus us thinking there's nothing we could do. You know, like Talcott said, I mean, I agree with him. Most of these folks ascertain in their own mind and heart first, there's little they can do to change themselves in the world. So they just go to selling shit. So imagine some guy like me who says, I really don't give a fuck. I've been in certain situations. I faced my death. You're offering me an opportunity to walk up in here and get some footage that might change everything, or at least just give me the experience. I get to go in there and film this and see what it's all about. I'm probably going to do it, you know, money and consequences aside, because I'm a cosmic gambler, right? And I want to see what the fuck's going on in there. And if I got a few people with me, I might feel like we could get it done. You know, so yeah, I think it's a fine line. Like I said, what tells me he's an agent is when he kept pushing Trump over and over again, and probably is still doing it. You know, I don't listen to him no more, haven't for a while. But, you know, if I go back and listen and he's still with that nonsense, I mean, please, it's ridiculous.
That's like when in The Godfather, right? When Vito gets rid of Don Fanucci at the festival, right? Fanucci's just like walking around like he owns a place, and then goes back to his apartment, you know, with none of his guys or nothing, and Vito just shows up. And so maybe it's just arrogance, right?
I don't know, I don't know what you call confidence. If you're confident in who and what you are and what you're here to do, or just being part of an experience, what do you have to lose? But again, I tend to think that Alex Jones, willing or unwilling dupe, one way or the other, pretty much there as a way to funnel people who are not in the mainstream into a secondary idea of what, truther and conspiracy and all the rest of it, and then again, you see how it's a network within a network, just like Passio, and again, at one point I had respect for these folks. I've even said on certain platforms when they were interviewing me that, and I used to tell them, I don't even want to bring names up, because I'll bring names up and then weeks or months from now, I'll feel like an idiot saying them, or I'll say them and then everyone will attach me to those people and say that I'm like them. But I respect all those people for what they've done in different arenas. But I just started over time, notice some things more and more, right? And it's like networks within networks where nobody could get to these people. The people who do get on there are folks who are like vetted, and they almost make sure that, hey, you're not going to talk about a certain set of things,
Yeah, because think about if they do take Mr. AJ off his broadcast, now there's millions of sheeps going, just wandering now, and they're going to look for somewhere else to go.
Sheep,
well, they're going to look for somewhere else to go, right? And
and none of them will look within themselves to find out where to go. They're all going to look for somebody else to follow. It fucking sucks.
So then the question is, how do you square the narrative of Alex Jones being taken off YouTube and pretty much being just wiped away and now unaccessible? Are they making room for somebody like me? This is where we get Smith and all the rest of them, riled up. Are they making room? Are they making room to see the next crop of people come about that everyone's going to go in on? Maybe it's a different phase of the operation where they don't need people like him no more. They just need a whole community of content creators, and then they can watch what everybody does and where they go to and what they say. I don't know. But how do you square that, right? He was here. He was like the guy for truth or conspiracy, anti quote unquote government, which, I've decided at one point, I'm not going to play that game with myself and others. I don't need to be anti-government to stand for what's true and what's right. They're anti-true and what's right. They're anti-me. I ain't anti-government. So, but yeah, I don't see how you square that unless it's another operation, PSYOP, to have a big comeback by him somewhere at some point,
maybe,
or to bring in a new being or a new set of beings.
Well, that's like, yo, only the old school folks would understand this, but like I noticed like 2020, it was a real different shift with like the algorithm or something. Like Google started letting everything go. Like they lifted like all their I believe that they lifted all their sensors, and like it was weird. Like everybody and their uncle started to just talk about quote unquote truth. So I thought it was very on purpose. And,
well, that's
I
what
think
the
that was
Rothschild.
obvious.
That's what the Rothschilds and them do. Just like if the news is going to get out, they'll go buy the news company. That's just the way it is. Once people quit watching the news, get their own. Once people that have enough money, like him or has the connects, go in on another platform where we have freedom of speech, where we have a right to do this. I think it's unconstitutional. It's like humane for us not to be able to just live freely. Yes, there is a difference between right and wrong, but to be forced to get your license, to be forced to get insurance, to be forced to pay taxes, to be forced to register your car, I don't like to be forced to do anything, so once we all man up or lady up and open our own platforms and do our own shit and not rely on the government, who cares? Because if you're in that realm, then you're always going to be a slave. The minute you get out of that realm, you'll understand that nothing will enslave you. Nothing. Nothing
Can we
can
really
enslave.
call what this government is government? I mean,
That's the thing too. I was just gonna say, man, you have to like take in the idea that nothing is really black and white. There's usually gray areas and levels to everything. You don't think that there's internal agencies struggling with each other for power? You don't think there's left side of the Masons, right side, white square, dark square? When they talk white hats, I don't doubt it. The problem is they're fighting each other over who's going to run our lives and which way. So I don't doubt for a second there's Blue Lodge Hillary folks and Red Lodge. They're both Masons. They're just opposing in their views and the way they come about it. They both think they're right. They're both probably wrong on some levels. Maybe one side's a little bit better than the other if we're going to do lesser of evils. But ultimately, they're just struggling for power. Are we going to run this with New World Order or Old World Order? And then I got a feeling they're all being run by something spiritual up the chain they're not even aware of. Or they are aware of it. They've just thrown in with it and said, well, this is the game. Lord of the Ether. Like, I had a guy warehouse, Mason. He goes, I'm a 33-degree Mason. He goes, he was saying to me, he goes, I go and talk with these people. He goes, I could put 10,000 slaves in a room and they couldn't equal up to what you know. He goes, you know shit that these people don't know. He goes, and I'll tell you this, it's scary to me on some level because they tell me this is Prince of the Ether and it runs everything. He goes, everything you're saying resonates with me. And you seem to know even more than what these people do, but I got to throw in with that because they are my livelihood. They run this business. They give me my funding and they tell me there's something that runs this world. I say, bro, my kingdom's not of this world as I'm sweeping this floor. I go, my kingdom's not of this world. You just don't get where I'm coming from. Like, I ain't holding on here to this body and to what you think runs this place. That's foolishness. So I've had the military people tell me, we know the evil, we know it's bad and wrong, we ignore it to make our lives easier. We know what we're thrown in with spiritually, right? These are willing servants of what they call the Prince of the Ether that they think is the God of this realm, and they're not sure what it is. They just know it has power and seems to give them favor, apparently, for certain rituals and things they do. And I go, yeah, I don't think you're seeing this the way I'm seeing this. You got to like shed your body, like Ian says. You got to shed your body and your identity and your ego and your bullshit and realize we ain't living to sit here and be subservient to a force that runs this place to keep you all acting like a bunch of disempowered hoes. You're getting pimped on spiritually. So that's what Shaitan is, the deceiver, right? The defalcator, the defrauder, the disempowerment, right? It will trick you out of your position with its good pimping and macking game. And its fear space doesn't work with me. Hasn't for a long time. Never really did take completely. Not like the rest of these people. They're not even willing. And then you know what the best part is? Every one of these people that I've spoken to who's in certain positions and shit gets revealed never really works out for them. Like my life keeps getting better and better through trial and tribulation. They keep getting tested and challenged and everything keeps breaking and falling apart. And then they have to get saved by their buddies. And I go, you just don't see what's happening here. You're like man's law, man's world, your affinity groups, your mafia, your mobs, and I'm walking with something that's like so beyond all that. It's like inherent in this program, this simulation, this code. It's not a this world thing. It's like pervades all of life and all experience. So they don't want to stand tall and walk alone. They don't want to walk into the light of the Christed beingness. They want to be part of the opposer's deceit system because it's for profit. We know the game. It's cliche at this point. It's so easy to get these hoes. So they say, they used to say to me, how, you know, he'd say, like, we'd have these conversations and they go, yeah, but how do they do it? How do they run the whole world? I go, you're not seeing from God's eye view. It's so easy to get you hoes. How does a pimp get 30 women to line up and do what the fuck he says without ever putting hands on them and not even lying to them? Right? Because, A, there's motivations. If I just show you motivations and different power and movements, you're going to be with it. Let alone if I start twisting the language and playing on what I know about your consciousness. It's so easy to run this world full of a bunch of broken people searching for completion and other slaves who don't know themselves. They do it all day, every day. Earth Inc. What the hell is that, man? This guy's got a giraffe.
Hard Hat says, I would like to think that back in Roman times, there were still people like us that had this spark in us that didn't go with the system and fought it. I mean, isn't that the story pretty much of all of history, of man just, you know, wanting to be left alone and to do what he wants? And then there's like this other group that just won't leave him alone and constantly is presuming and claiming jurisdiction over that first man. It's like the constant struggle, right?
Yeah, but then there becomes a bigger struggle after that, is that there's a set of people as time goes on that want to co-create with others, you know, have that fraternity. And in that context, then you have the people that come in and try to defalcate and ruin that. So it's a whole nother dimension that happens, because it's not just individuals. There's whole co-creating cooperative efforts that go on that end up being attacked by jealous, envy, greedy people that don't, you know, they see other people being able to cooperate and exert and get, you know, pleasure from that, and they just see that pleasure and they want that, so they figure they'll take the shortcut, take it from them, like the golden goose paradox, right? The goose laying the golden eggs. You know, it lays the golden eggs until you try to chop the goose open to get all those eggs out at once. It doesn't work that way.
Now I got Justin Padini's friends list of these people, man. He goes, can I ask why you blocked Justin Padini? I go, I guarantee he asked you to ask me that. Well, you just come up to me and go, hey, can I ask why you give a fuck? Everyone thinks I'm so stupid, man.
You can't even know that. I can't know if Tribe blocks Jack. I can't know.
So like right away now, I know you're playing a middleman game instead of just coming to me and go, hey, Justin wants to know why you blocked him. So you're gonna like listen to what he says, come to me, ask me like you want to know, so you can go tell him when the answer is the same to you. I just told him the answer is the same to you as it is to him. He acts like a little child. So now go back and tell him the same thing I already told him to his face. What, you thought you were gonna get a different answer? Everyone thinks that I'm a fake ass motherfucker like them, that I don't just tell you in your face what I think about you and then move on with my day. And they go, he didn't really mean that. What does he really mean? I go, okay, let me try again. I love you and care about you. We could work together, but you're XYZ in my eyes. Do you accept that or not? No, and we never do. Okay, so why do you keep coming back to me and asking me what the fuck I think about you and making it a thing? It's bizarre. It's a bizarre thing to observe. And these are folks who are part of Mark Passio's One Great Work Network to do comedy and are completely lost and confused and broken and have a look in their eye like you wouldn't trust them with your children. Okay? And, you know, it's like they can't even manage their own affairs. When you go to talking about legal, lawful, they say it doesn't matter. And then their content is jokes and then looking at cave paintings and hieroglyphics. And you wonder why I'm like if I didn't have a spiritual process, you know, I'd have just done myself in a long time ago. Because that what was driving me crazy is I could see all this whole reality laid out before me.
Yep.
Didn't know how to really even explain it and language it out. So I had to learn the language again to explain it in a way that made sense to me first. And then I see everyone else going, hey, we're going to get famous off talking about cave paintings and doing horrible jokes. And I go, yeah, we're totally fucked. This is my father, my uncle, this person, that person, Padini, every fucking person around me with the same MO, the same agenda, the same ambition, the same ego construct. And then they say, how do we run a whole planet? Easy, just like that. You all have the same ambitions, the same motivations, the same thought process, the same fears, and the same way to get to what you think you're going to get to that never really works for you or anyone else. It's that simple.
Well,
Paul, if I may really briefly, I just want to make just a brief request to anyone in Slavia there. I may, keyword is may, be passing down to Miami tomorrow. And I understand that Wes is in town. So if anyone has any kind of information where I might be able to reach out to him, even if it's to go to one of his events, I'd love to, because I think Wes with this panel here would be these other guys are jokers. Forget about them. You know, Wes and you would be the real dialogue.
If Wes Watson doesn't come correct with me and I'm not like star stricken, which nowadays I don't really think is even able to happen anymore because of whatever this purpose is, I'm probably going to wind up shitting on him and he's going to try to come beat me up or just go on with his life and act like I'm a fat fuck who, you know, isn't worth shit. So like, if he won't cop to the fact that rich and rare, that rare part means everything we talk about here. If he doesn't cop to it and we don't get on that train, I'm going to go, bro, you're not shit. I don't give a fuck how much time you did in prison or how many people you stabbed or killed. I really don't give a fuck. And if you knock me out, I'll get right back up and say out the side of my mouth, you're a punk ass coward slave riding around in a comfortable car that somebody else owns. You know, it's that simple. That the truth doesn't change because you can knock me out, beat me up and kill me. You're still going to have to be a pet slave in this realm when I'm out of here. So we're not going to play ego tough guy games either.
But Paul, as a cult counselor, I'll be the one physically there as trustee taking the beating. So be careful what you're asking for there. Let's just do this metaversally, like get them on the panel, not like physically, so you don't have to worry about, you know, getting a right hook or something.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, I don't even care one way or the other. I play him because he has an inspiring energy and story, and he understands the process that when applied gets results. Does he take that where I think it needs to be taken for all of us? No, that's what the conversation's really going to be about. Like, hey, I have respect for you. You know, I think that you're doing good shit. I think that you're a very powerful being and you could have a lot of results here. Do you see the value in talking about these things and living it and applying it? If not, go away from me. I never knew you. And I'll probably stop playing his fucking videos. And that's why they say, don't meet heroes. I don't have heroes. Don't meet these heroes, quote unquote, because you wind up being disappointed. You know, and folks will say the same thing about me. Don't meet Paulie Boy because you'll be disappointed. Yeah, for very different reasons.
Yeah, I think it's deeper though. There's a certain serendipity. I keep noticing that, you know, if it's not explored further, I'd rather, if that's the case you're saying there, in the worst case scenario, big deal. But if it's what I'm, you know, what I kind of observe here, it might be something that would actually be what you're looking for to. I mean, you have a unique kind of broadcasting here. You can't say it's like anything else. So if there's a way for it to really break through and stuff, you know, I mean, that's Wes Watson's specialty anyways, is saying something that, you know, that should be done that nobody wants to do gets done. And it might work well in that way for you. That's all I'm saying. It might work for him because I see him touching on and like I said, it's serendipitous. I don't know if he watches you or not, you know, but it seems like there's a connection here. It might just be a collective consciousness type of thing. I don't know. I'm not going to say how I can explain it. I'm just describing it.
And I doubt that he's sitting around watching me. And it doesn't matter one way or the other. We're talking about the same experience and the same idea, and the application yields the same results. We're only one self, so we don't have to go multiplying hypotheses more than necessary. It is a collective consciousness. It's a certain time, a certain place where certain things are going on that's bringing about more and more of an understanding of what we're here to be and do. So that's going to come through a lot of folks where you'd least expect it. I'm just one of them. He's just one of them. Okay, maybe Talcott's one of them.
We are all the one, like you say, Paul. Hey, I'm gonna thank you for the hospitality and golly geez, wonderful time. I'm gonna step down though and